and good evening, and welcome to another exciting show with Survival Steve. Hey, good evening, Survival Steve.
Hi,
And
Eric.
mustn't grumble. Hey, and I've got the Christmas cards at the back. Thank you very much for people sending the Christmas cards. Here they are. And I've got unusual Christmas decorations this year. Yep.
Mm.
I've got an organic dryer for my clothing. It's called a rotary clothesline. So I haven't got one of these electric ones because I'm a tight-fisted git. And it's going to be a nice day on Sunday. Sorry, not Sunday, on Thursday, on Christmas Day. So everybody's got their inflatable Santas and they've got reindeers and things like that. And I'm going to have my undercrackers on the line and things like that. And they say, he's a very strange bloke, my neighbours. He's very strange. We've got all our Christmas decorations and flashing lights, and he's got his underpants out on the line. So there we go. So
Well,
let's have a quick look in chat. What we got here? We got Six Blade. Goody. Hang on, that's you, isn't it?
hey.
That's Asperger's as Fudge. That is hello. I think Asperger's as Fudge ought to be our cultural attaché. It's a marvellous name, is it? Asperger's as Fudge. And
Yeah,
of
it's
course,
class.
as you're the first in, you can have a 2-finger or 1-finger salute as a celebrity or politician of your choice, Asperger's as Fudge. So there we go. Or it could be yourself, Steve. I think you're first, aren't you? So,
No, it's not fair if it's me. I mean, besides, I'd be here all night if I was blowing raspberries at politicians.
right now, the title of today's show is Solstice Survival. And I see you've got some good survival gear on there. You've got the old beanie hat
Mm.
and the what's that called? That's your vest, isn't it? And you
Yeah.
and you and all that stuff. So and I was interested. I've got all the stuff all lined up to show. So fire away, Steve. How do we survive the solstice? And first of all, I must ask you. I mean, you're ex-military person. You know that. It's a bit of a difficult question because this came up last night. War with Russia. Do you think it's just a bit of bravado and it's not going to happen? Because I pray to God it's not going to happen. I hope it's not going to happen. But what's your feelings of it? Is it the science?
Mm.
I don't know. I just wondered. Sorry to put you on the hop. I didn't know. You know, what's your feeling?
Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag for me, in all fairness. I think some of well, for the benefit of the viewers, the listening audience, I have got some slides lined up to give a little bit of a flavour of kind of the way the world's teetering about. I'm sure most people don't need much direction into what's going on in the wider world. But in terms of war, well, I think it's quite likely simply because it's a blood sacrifice, and that's always one of the
Yes.
requirements of this satanic elite. But also, it helps to kickstart whatever plans that they've got in place for the totalitarian future. They have to break down and reform society. So, if you want to have some major changes, there's got to be some major physical effect in order to help cater for
Mm.
that. So, I think it's very likely.
Mm.
So,
But unlike
stand
any
back.
other war, probably. I don't know. Unlike any other war.
I mean, possibly. I mean, who knows? Anything
Mm.
could happen, and nothing would surprise me at this
Yeah.
stage. So
That's the thing.
I would say,
Right.
be prepared for worst case.
You're spot on. And I tell you what will be definite food shortages. Because there's food shortages First World War, food shortages Second World War. And
Hmm.
this won't be any different. Now, Asperger's Fudge wants Gandhi. So now Gandhi wasn't as nice as we said we thought he was. So it's to Gandhi or like that to Gandhi. Or the Bendy Gandhi. And no, apparently he didn't like Africans, did he? He's very racial, apparently Gandhi
Right?
was.
I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah, apparently he was not such a man of peace as you think he was.
Hmm.
When you look into it, it's the film was a bit of bullshit, basically.
Okay,
It's a bit
right.
hyped up. Yes, it's a bit sort of. And I've said this before. Have you ever seen the film of them making the film?
No.
Gandhi. Oh, it's a classic. It's Lovey Deary going, okay, Lovey. And they're filming the funeral scene. And they had all these extras, all these crowds there. And some enterprising Indian decides to sell some ice creams. So so you see, they're just ready, and he goes, action. And you get, and you get this ice cream van going along. Get that bloody ice cream van out of the way. And so these people go, tell the crowd to look miserable. And they're all going, licking their ice creams. It's hysterical. It actually had me off my seat with laughter. And there's this bloke with a turban selling these ice creams to people. Anyway, you got a question here. Nuki Brown. I don't know if you know Nuki. Do you know Nuki Brown?
If I do, I don't know him by that name. So,
Steve, was the Whitley Bay event filmed?
aha, right. Yes, it was. If he's alluding to the solstice, or sorry, the Saturnalia seminar,
Yes, happy
because that's
Saturnalia, everybody. By the way,
yeah,
happy.
because we done that on the 17th of December, which is Saturnalia, which is where Christmas is kind of
Mhm.
evolved from. So yeah, it's been filmed. We've not kind of uploaded it. It's not ready to be released or anything yet. We're still kind of very much in the drawing board with that respect, but hopefully it's going to come out at some stage.
That's right.
Might I also mention that Nathan and I, who was also one of the presenters along with Mark Devlin at that event, it was an all-day event. Nathan and I done another podcast last night to highlight some of the instances around Saturnalia and the solstice and the Christmas celebrations. So hopefully
Brilliant.
that'll be
Brilliant.
out soon.
And we got something coming up at 9:00, haven't we?
Oh yes, should we reveal all, or should we keep
Let's
it?
reveal all.
Should we?
We
Okay.
have got someone having a bath, and it's
Yeah.
not Aunt Sally. So
Yeah.
stay tuned to that. It's a bath.
Mm-hmm. So
9
I'm going to have
o'clock.
to turn the camera around for that. So that should be a feat.
Yes. So, so that should be a nice bath. That will be. So there we go. And so, any guesses what the bath will be? Anyway, we'll keep them guessing on that one. And we got we got Blu-ray, and we've also got Mark Anthony.
Great stuff.
Good evening, Eric, Steve, and chat. Hello, Mark.
Hi,
And
folks.
who else? And we got Nuki. Well, we just spoken to Nuki Brown, haven't we? And we've got who else we got? And oh bloody hell! Someone's guessed it already. you always get some smart ass, don't you? Sorry, mate. This is a gong bath, yeah. But it might be the world's first gong bath live on air. It could be.
If
So there you
anyone's
go.
never had a sound bath or a gong bath, they are very relaxing, almost hypnotic. It's only going to be a short one because otherwise people will be falling asleep.
It's yeah. I've been to a gong bath, so there we go.
All right.
So, and if Joe's watching, hello, Joe. So there we go. And that's a lady Joe, that is, not
All
a
right,
male
yeah.
Joe. Anyway, Steve, survival. Today I was down at the shops, and anybody would think that the siege of Stalingrad is about to begin. There's people with their trolleys absolutely heaving. It's like a mound of greed because the shops are going to be closed for one day. Oh, one day. What? How are we going to survive? I mean, what are we going to do when the shops are closed for one day?
It's like the apocalypse, isn't it? Christmas.
Yeah.
Which is good training for us in a survival sense. It's like panic stations. What we're going to do? We've forgotten. Everybody forgets some sort of shopping, don't they?
Well, that's right. I went to get my nuts today, walnuts.
Walnuts.
Got me walnuts. Yeah, all
Yeah.
up with walnuts. Actually, I get them in Lidl because they're about the cheapest place to get your
Mm.
walnuts. Very nice as well.
Well, nuts
You
aren't the
know.
cheapest of foods, but they are tasty
No.
and very nutritious. In fact, walnuts apparently are good for the brain, which is quite remarkable given the fact that they actually look like a brain.
They do, they do,
Mm.
and the thing is that I think that this sort of mass paranoia, for want of a better word, you kindly put. I think it was it on Occult Academy. You put that link to that fantastic video. I
Mm.
think it was Occult Academy, or was it Survive the Apocalypse? I'm not
Was that
sure
today,
which one.
the Christmas one?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah. Oh
was
yes,
the
that was it.
Academy.
Cult Academy. Viewers, please tune in to the Cult Academy. It's well worth it. I think I might have a link to it here. But it's just a cult. If you go on to Telegram and put a Cult Academy, you'll see it. It's about Christmas. And I'm not sure whether I've explained this correctly, but scientists did these things where was it coins or something turning at random or machines that did random figures or something.
Yeah.
And when people their brain focuses on one thing, it fails to become random. And all these random things start to tune in to the same thing. I just sat there and went, it was mind blowing. It
Mm.
really was. You know. Oh, by the way,
It's.
Steve, Eddie, I can see that. You have to open up another. What's
I've
that?
just
Sorry,
realised.
mate.
Yeah. No,
I'm
I've just
sorry,
realised.
mate.
It's all right.
That's
I've got
it.
it on YouTube as well, so I'll send it in.
That's it. So yeah, it comes up on YouTube as well as Rumble.
All
So
right.
that just got me. And Jojo Gizmo said, "Where is it? Come on, Jojo Gizmo. Oh, the bleeding thing. Oh, hello. It's gone down again. The messenger. Asda are selling reindeer steaks this year, not to be undone. Another supermarket are selling little donkey. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
I
Little
wonder where you
donkey.
got his crackers from.
Oh, Christ. Do you mind if we change? I'm going to, what I'll do, I can't put the links down on the show. He does this occasionally.
Mm.
I have to go through another feed. So do you mind? I'm just going to go, it'll go, take me 30 seconds to go on another feed. So I'll
By
just
all
go through
means.
another feed because this bloody thing does this every week. I don't know quite why. It's a software problem.
Mm.
Here it comes. Come on. It's verifying. Here we go. Going to go into it. Right. Here we go. And I'll enter into that. And that's it. We're on the other feed now. Still with us, Steve?
Still there. That was painless.
That didn't hurt at all, did it? Here we go. That's lovely. You just go on. Soon you can buy an end of the world rat burger. Yes, that's an idea. Right now, tonight's show, Solstice Survival. You've got
Mm.
quite a presentation for us, so over to you, mate.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, is it not too early to put a few slides up?
F- why not? I've got them all ready, loaded, ready to
Why
fire
not?
up. Right, I've started at where am I? Number one, and you go number two, and all these different ones. So
Yeah.
just tell me what you want, and I'll put them on.
Well, well, obviously start off with number one. Let's get that up and show everybody
Right,
what that's all about.
here we go.
Hey, brilliant! That's coming across nice. So
Yeah.
this is Survive the Apocalypse with Survival Steve. So if I'm sure many people will know that I've got a little Telegram channel which is called Survive the Apocalypse.
It's a
That's
big one, isn't it?
yeah. Um, so that's my front page, if you like.
Hmm.
So what I aim to do, in fact, could you put the next slide up, Eric, please?
Certainly. That's it.
Okay, so what I aim to do is obviously teach resilience and survival techniques, mental and physical survival, and as you can see from this slide, there's 7 survival priorities. So no matter what the event might be, we've still got basic human needs. And of course, most of those are listed there. Shelter, which also includes protection. That's almost like a
Mhm.
safety thing. So self-defense would come under protection. Water, fire, food, medical aid, navigation, and signaling. And of course, as it says as a caveat below, only the dynamics of the event can determine which of these attributes would be the priority. So, brilliant. Do you want to take that
Third,
off? Yeah,
right?
put the third one on. Why not? So, the aim of the Survive the Apocalypse channel is to make you hard to kill. So that's what I want to do, make you hard to kill. Okay, and there's many things can take us to the next realm. So, there's hopefully there's going to be plenty of variation on the channel. And of course, the aim of Survive the Apocalypse is to build upon resilience. And below that in the purple box is the link to that channel. So if anyone wants to join, by all means do so. I'd be delighted to see you there. Right, shall we put it back on the...
Right, there we go. I'll just take that off. Oh,
Yeah,
take that off. Take that off. There we go. And we're back on. And so number 4 will be the next one. And I
brilliant.
tell you something, there's a nice group in there. I'm a member of it as well. Survive the Apocalypse, and its Telegram is I think it's far better than all the other stuff like Facebook and all that crap. Seriously,
Mm,
it is. The only one seconding to Telegram is Gab, because you say what you
mm,
want on Gab. Nobody's going to tell you to sod off,
yeah.
Um, that's interesting, the resilience. So mental preparation as well as physical.
Yeah, exactly.
And any age, I would assume that you can be,
Mm,
unless you're sort of 100 in a Zimmer frame. But I mean, even at 100 a Zimmer frame, you can do your bit, I think.
yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
important to have a sense of resilience. And as you
Mm.
correctly said, it's not just about being physically prepared with tins of beans. It's also about getting this in order to be in
Mm.
a comfortable position, to be full bodied in mind and soul, mind, body, and soul, in order to deal with any emergencies as they may arise. And obviously, we're in kind of tumultuous times, times of uncertainty with talk about war with Russia, talk, an invasion of immigrants, you could
Mm.
say, with there's medical dramas going on. There's
Mm.
all sorts of things going on, which is acting as a huge. It's a battlefield in its sense in itself, isn't it? We don't know which way
It,
to turn at times.
well, that's it. It's a mystery. By the way, Martin Sheldon, excuse me cutting in on there,
Mm.
Steve. Sorry about that. Merry Christmas. Is Steve's podcasts available on Apple Podcasts? I don't know. Is it?
Not that I mean, I've not put anything on Apple
Mm.
Podcast, so no, I don't imagine
Uh,
there's no.
and is Eric going to put his shows on audio podcasts? Yes. And it's thanks to a gentleman called Patrick that I will be
Mm.
able to do so.
Brilliant.
And I'll have a word with you about it as well. See if Patrick might be able to do something
All right,
for
sound.
yourself. Okay, so that's it. So, yes, it will be soon. You'll be able to get it on
Well,
that one.
well, do you know, if it's all right with you, Eric, I've got loads of little show and tell pieces if it's of interest
Certainly,
to.
far away. Yeah, I mean, the show's you. The show is the guest. So do what do whatever is necessary.
Yeah, well, I've got loads of things to show and tell, and as I say, I mean, I haven't got I've only got what I can basically fit on the table in front of me, and you can see if
Okay.
a few. These are like little Christmas luxuries, you could say. So I made a point of getting some. I guess you could say some of the more expensive items that are useful in survival environments or survival arenas. So I thought I'd put a little bit of a show and tell there. But I tell you what, why don't we go for the top shelf of here, of
Yep.
what you can see here?
Hmm.
I'll just adjust the camera a little bit so you can see what we've got. So on the top shelf, and again, I don't know if you can see the writing I've got here. Is that coming across, or is it too
No, the light is a little bit. You can't read
right?
anything of it.
No
No, I
problems.
can't.
So here are a few things, and I mean, because it's Christmas coming up, if anyone's
Mhm.
interested in obtaining, purchasing, or treating themselves to some survival type tools and gadgets that's going to be maybe useful to them, well, here's a few things. I'm going to start off with this big thing here. This is called a
Yeah.
power bank.
Hmm.
This is you can run small electrical devices off that, and it's portable. Charge it from the mains at home, and it'll last you a good long weekend. With decent use, um, without having to plug into anything else. So you can run small appliances, charge laptops, charge your mobile phones off something like that. Run a TV, this is something you could use if there is a power cut, or if you go on adventures in your car or a camper van, perhaps that's a
Hmm.
useful addition. Now, some of these items are expensive. This one is quite expensive. It's around about the £300 mark. So again, these are kind of like wish list items.
Mm.
Below that, I've got a few other things. Not as expensive, a head torch. So head torches are massively vital bits of kit. You can see this is really bright.
Mm.
You can pick one of these up for £10, £10 or more.
I
But
picked mine up for £1 in the pound shop
did you?
a couple of years
That's
ago. You
awesome.
they don't do them
Yeah.
anymore, but I went. Yeah, you used to be able to get them in the pound shop, but miserable sods. They might do them. I don't know, but I haven't seen them for a long time.
Well, we've talked about lighting. So lighting is important. So this is another little lighting tool. I'll not shine this directly at the camera, but this is a wind-up light. So you can charge
Shoot.
this up. It doesn't take batteries. Simply wind it up, and you can see it's pretty bright.
Yeah,
So these are
I don't
handy
know.
to have, especially in the zombie apocalypse when batteries are hard to come by.
Yeah.
Another thing worth looking at is some of these rechargeable type lights with the lithium batteries. Again, this is multi-function. It's as bright as can be. It's got flashing lights on. Um, it's got a magnet on it so you can stick it to the side of a car or a hook. So again, these are fairly inexpensive. That was
Mm.
less than £10. So
It's not bad. It's not bad, is
yeah,
it? But I'm
yeah, it's not bad.
fascinated with your power pack up there because for camping and things like that, they are. But I think that sometimes you can pay for the name with a lot of these ones,
Mhm.
and they're all made in China. So,
Probably.
uh, yeah, and I think some of them you can start your car with it if you've got a flat battery. I think they can
Mhm.
do that. So there's
Yeah.
quite a lot where you can and the power bank. You think you can plug something in, 13 amp wallop, and for example, if the power went out here and I had one of those power banks, I could probably still be broadcasting because my router I could still use my router and I could still use my computer. For how long, I
Mhm.
don't know, but
Yeah.
that could be done. Do it on a laptop or something.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. But obviously, if you've got some sort of power, it gives you a bit of peace of mind, even if it's just to run a radio so you can listen to see what's going on in the wider world. It is helpful. But again, these things are all optional. It doesn't mean you'll not survive the apocalypse if you ain't got one. I'm literally just putting a few, you could say, as I've said, a few of the more expensive items. So if anyone's got a Christmas wish list, these are kind of things you could maybe consider. We've looked at lighting, we've looked at power banks. We need some sort of cutting tool,
mhm.
or this is a multi-tool, a Leatherman. These are terrific. This doubles up as a pair of pliers.
Oh
It's
yes,
got screwdrivers, knife blades, saw blades on it. There's all sorts of manner of things. So really handy bit of kit. Definitely recommend something like that.
Leatherman are the creme de la creme. They are the Rolls Royce. I would say they've got the. What do you think? Similar to Victorinox, but the probably slight edge. Excuse the pun, but
Mm.
slight edge on Victorinox.
Yeah,
Um, they're American, aren't they? I think Leatherman, aren't they?
yeah.
But
Leatherman, oh yeah.
but I think pliers are very very handy, especially if you do cycling. Because
Yeah.
how many times do you need to do up a nut, or you need to, pull a cable through? Pliers are
Mm.
You really do need them.
And this tool will fit in your pocket. You wouldn't even know you had it.
Yeah,
So a great item.
yeah.
I'll be honest. I'm not sure how much this costs, but I'm gonna guess it's probably £40 plus.
Oh, I
Depending on
think a
the
bit more than
model.
that, Steve.
Is
They're
it?
bloody expensive Leathermans. Yeah,
Right,
they are the Rolls Royce. When I say
right.
Rolls, they are the top creme de la creme. But you get what you pay for. It's not going to
Yeah,
fall to bits, you know.
yeah. I
So
guess so. I mean, I've had a lot of the things I've had for since I was 18-year-old. This is one such item. This is a Zippo lighter, and I've literally had that since I was about 18. So
really,
yeah, and I'm about 140 now. So
a few years old. It's a nice illustration of Queen Victoria on the side of that, isn't it?
Right.
That Zippo. Is it
Yeah,
petrol or gas?
this is like it just uses lighter fluid, but
I see.
seriously, I mean, I say it works every time, apart from this time.
And that never works on the camera.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But this is something I would quite often. I will wear it, and you mentioned inner tube rubber the other
Yeah,
day.
that's right. That was on yesterday's show. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's inner
Oh
tube rubber.
yes.
So what I will often do is carry my Zippo lighter. If I can demonstrate this, I will push my Zippo lighter nice and snugly through this inner tube rubber, which is attached to a piece of string, like so. And I can carry that, wear that around my neck like a necklace, and I've always got it to hand.
And it's
Um,
waterproof as well, isn't it? With a rubber
yeah,
around it.
but the rubber as well. If I need to light a fire in an emergency, I'll just undo that knot. If I want to light a fire in an emergency and get a fire going, inner tube rubber. It's
Mm.
waterproof, but it burns really well. So I can light the inner tube rubber and start a fire and wear it over my neck.
Pen and inks a
So
bit as well, but
say again?
that means you see when you're cooking the food, if it pen and inks a bit, you'd have the food to
Yeah.
yourself because no one will come near you. So
Yeah.
that's sticking on it, but that's brilliant. That is. So in a
Well,
tube rubber round it, yeah, that's great. That is.
one advantage over a petrol lighter, you could say,
Mm,
during because we're talking about the solstice here, the winter
yeah,
solstice in particular, is the cold weather. So a gas lighter,
yeah,
these can sometimes struggle to work in cold climates, very cold weather.
yeah.
I mean, you kind of offset that by just carrying it in your pocket, so it's not subjected to cold conditions so much. But that's something to be aware of. One other
Interesting.
thing, yeah, one other thing to be aware of is gas. So we've got a gas lantern here.
Mm,
So gas in these little camping gas cylinders, they can sometimes struggle quite
mm,
significantly in cold weather. Freezing temperatures, these will struggle. So you've got to be aware of that. But this is again, it's not quite on the top shelf, but since we've picked it up, let's get that baby going. This is a stainless steel gas lantern, which gives off a lot of light. But one benefit of this, lovely and warm. So when your fingers are freezing cold, you're in a tent, you're in the back of a van or something like that, you're in a shelter. If you stick one of these on, not only have you got light, you've also got warmth.
yeah.
Obviously, careful with the exhaust gases. You don't want to carbon monoxide yourself during the apocalypse. So there you go. Gas lantern.
Yeah, have a window open or get one of those monoxide meters, which are quite cheap, and stick it
Yeah,
inside a van or wherever you are. And but someone mentioned, was it wind up radio? Well, yes,
yeah.
BBC does wind me up. I put the BBC on, I'm wound up. Ah, so very, very honest there. Yes, wind up
Yeah.
radio. Yeah.
Well, that little lantern will fit in this little box, so it's
Really?
tiny. Yeah. So it's a good little compact item
I've got,
to consider.
I've actually got a primer stove which runs on paraffin,
Hmm.
and it's a sod to start. It's a technique to start it. Once it goes, it sounds like Concorde revving up,
Yeah.
and it's too efficient. But
Mm.
because you know that the scouts, health and safety said the scouts are not supposed to have them, so you could get pick primer stoves up a couple of years back, dirt cheap,
Wow.
Then health and safety found out what they've replaced with were more dangerous than the primer stoves. They've gone back to primer stoves now.
Hmm. Cannot make it up. Shall we
No.
get a few other show and tell items?
Oh, yes,
There's
please.
no,
Yes.
incidentally, there's no sort of particular order to this. It's just a general range of,
It's fascinating. It
oh,
really is
well,
good.
it's items that are basically covering the 7 needs of survival. So obviously,
Yeah.
this one is covering water. This is a water bottle. This is called water to go. Now,
Mm.
one benefit to this, you can see this has got a charcoal filter. So you fill
Yeah.
up from a river, or even if it's just a tap in a dodgy area, fill it
Hmm.
up, stick the filter on, and drink away till your heart's content. So that should, I forget what the
Water to
spec.
go. I'll make a
Yeah.
note of that. That's a bloody good one, that is. Water to
Again, I
go.
don't think they're massively cheap. I think they're in the region of 30 quid, maybe more. I really can't remember. But these are terrific. Travelers use these. I took this recently. I was in North Africa. I took this with me because these are pretty versatile.
Yeah, that sounds bloody good. And also, let's put it this way: it's where I prefer to spend 30 quid than have a dose of dysentery.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I've been there and wore the t-shirt with that, and trust me.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't wear the trousers for long, but
That's the thing. Yes,
yeah.
yes. So,
So here's another water filter. This is, I might have showed
got one of
Johnston
those.
this before.
Like a
This is a
straw.
Sawyer. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are around about 35 pound. You can get cheaper varieties for, on the Chinese markets, but
Mm.
these are pretty good. A lot of people rave by these. And again, very small and compact, and they'll last you a good long time. One thing to be careful with any of these filter devices is these can freeze up. So in cold weather, because as I say, we're in winter now,
Mm.
be careful these don't freeze up. So if your filter clogs up with ice, it's just bad news. So we need to protect and safeguard these things. So we need to be, extra
I see.
careful and vigilant.
Do they expire, the filters, at all? Because I mean, I've had mine a couple of years. I mean, I haven't used it yet, but do they expire or can they
Um,
last forever?
as far as I know, if you've not used it, they should last a fair while. They probably have got a
Mm.
shelf life, but if it's not been used, it should be okay
Yeah,
for a long time. But if it has been used, again, you've got to be careful for things like bacteria building up
that's
in
right.
stores. Yeah. So again, there is caveats to it all, which is why, in a sense, this is probably one of the best methods for purifying and rendering water safe to drink. This is a metal mug
Mm.
and a metal water bottle. So collect your water, and if you want to, this can go on the heat. Take the lid off, obviously, so you don't blow it up. Boil the water in that, and you can boil more water in your cup and use this as a drinking vessel and, of course, an eating vessel as well. So a multi-purpose item. Um, this, I believe I paid less than £20 for this. As you can see, it's had a fair bit of use,
Hmm.
but these are terrific. These will last you a lifetime, if not more. So 20 quid, brilliant piece of survival.
Dutch ones, you can get Dutch ones quite reasonable on eBay. I think it's something Survival and Lost or something sell them,
Okay.
and they're from Holland. But the other thing is make sure it's not aluminum or aluminium. Make sure it's stainless steel.
Yeah, I would go for the stainless steel.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, again, because we are kind of focusing on winter survival, winter solstice, this is, I mean, it doesn't have to be this particular type, but I must admit, out of all the flasks I've had, this is bomb proof. This is, I believe it's made by Stanley. It's just a flask, double
Hmm.
insulated, and you can open the lid, drink out of it, close the lid, and it's leak proof.
Oh,
Okay, but
fantastic!
this is one of the best flasks I've ever had. And the good news is I actually found this, so double whammy. But this will keep drinks
Freebie.
warm the entire day. So a flask,
Mm.
definite morale boost,
Yeah.
great bit of survival kit. So never rule out having a flask. You probably want something to put in it though. So that brings me on to another kind of survival strategy we need to be aware of, and that's food. So food, i.e. calories, well, it doesn't have to be big and bulky. And this is just, actually, most of these are, because it's Christmas, humbugs, bar humbug.
Humbug.
Yeah, so some bar humbug, spoiled sweets, they'll last forever. You can even, if you wanted to, you can put a boiled sweet in a cup full of hot water and benefit from a flavoured sugary drink, if you've got nothing else. But speaking of which, some sort of energy drink. Can't beat a little bit of calories, something sweet and sugary on a cold day when you're up in the mountains or in a survival situation when you need to get some instant calories down your face. So it helps have a few little snacks in your pocket. So when you're, when the stuff hits the fan, you're already prepared because you've come out prepared. You've got all these little things to hand. Okay, so you're covering your little survival priorities there. Right, shall we have a look at something else? Shall we have a look at another couple of slides?
Why not? And we go over to the slides. Where are we? Studio. Here we are. And by the way, you can actually boil an egg. You can do boiled eggs in vacuum flasks. I've done it.
Oh yeah.
And and what you do, you just put the couple of eggs in, if how many you want. Put a little bit of cold water at the bottom, then put boiling water in, and leave it for about 10 minutes so that the vacuum flask heats up. Then pour the water away, or save it if you're in an emergency situation, and then pour boiled water over the top and leave it for about 20 minutes, and you'll have perfect boiled eggs.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's I don't cook boiled eggs. That's how I do boiled eggs in a vacuum flask.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So we got up to 5, I think it was. Was it?
It was number 4.
4. Okay. So we
Yeah.
need number 5. Right. Here we go. And
No, I think we're done number 3. Did we not? And we're on to number 4. Well, if not, we're going to quickly move on.
Right. So let's do number 4 and we see whether we've seen it
Yeah.
before. Here we are. No, we haven't seen it before, have we?
All right.
This was 3. We had that, didn't we? That's it.
That's right.
And this is 4. Come on. Hang on. Excuse me. I'm getting into a bit of trouble. Oh, that's it. Right. Here we are.
Perfect. Okay, so this is where it starts to get a little bit more serious, because obviously the world's in a little bit of an unpleasant. There's an unpleasant relationship going on, isn't there, between authority and the rest of the world, and one of these groups doesn't have our best interests at heart, should we say. But we've talked about resilience. Resilience is the ability to recover quickly from a change, a crisis, or a misfortune. So if bad things are on its way, well, at least if we've got a resilient mindset and we've got a little bit of preparation done, all of this stuff should just be a minor disruption. But talking about turbulence, what might we see in the future? And again, I'm not going to say this is a definite, but these are things that we can consider. So food shortages, power supply issues, health emergencies, financial or banking issues, communication, oblique stroke cyber attacks, natural disasters or potentially man-made even, civil disturbance and lawlessness, terrorism, warfare, and potentially martial law. So these are things that are realistic. It wouldn't be the first time for some of these things to happen. But if we are mindful and we've done a little bit of preparation and our minds are in the right space, we're halfway there. Like I say, it just becomes a minor disruption after that. Should we move on to the next slide?
Yes, here we go. That's it. Number 6.
Right. So this
number
is
5. Sorry, number 5.
Number 5. Okay. Well, this is quite an important slide because, first of all, let me just explain what SHTF means. I mean, have you heard that yourself, Eric?
Shit hits the extractor fan.
Exactly.
Isn't it? Yes.
So if the shit hits a fan, basically, and that could, entail anything that we've mentioned earlier. Right. During an SHTF situation, the majority of people, and I'm not saying people on this group, that you're listening audience, but the majority of people in the world will panic. They will then obey they'll obey authority, and then they'll, consume. Basically, that can be consuming the things that are pushed out for them to buy in terms of food, etc., or just consume the media propaganda that they're being fed with. So one of the reasons for this is because the authorities establish what's known as order out of chaos. And we've probably heard that before. That's the motto of
Mm.
the Freemasonic secret societies. And the way they do this is by keeping the herd fearful, hungry, and divided. So fearful, hungry, and divided. So when we're bickering with each other, we've run out of toilet paper and pasta, and we're all, wondering what's going to happen. This is exactly how the ruling authorities want us to be, so they can establish control over us. But in this condition, we fail to see the man pulling the strings behind the curtains. It's a big
Mm.
pantomime, and this is how our collapse turns into their control. Essentially, what the reason for this is so they can take away and remove our freedoms and our liberties. And of course, they can't just ask us politely because we politely decline. So they have to do it by manipulation. And this is some of the strategies that are employed behind the scenes. So shall we move on to the next slide?
Yeah, right. Oh, here we go. And let's have a look at that one. Here we are. Is that the right one? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot going on that slide, but I mean, let's just read through it. So, if we've got knowledge of, and I'm going to use the term enemy, if we or the adversary, if we've got knowledge of how they conduct their activities, and we can anticipate their likely actions, this is, you could say, it's a fundamental aspect to achieving success in military operations, but it's also fundamental to us to remaining at a state of resilience, to be unaffected or less affected by some of these activities. Essentially, what's going on in the world is, you could say, hybrid warfare, which is, I mean, obviously, if people are able to read the screen there, it's a fusion of conventional and unconventional instruments of power and tools of subversion, and it can utilize influencing methods such as fake news, propaganda, and the exploitation of legal frameworks. And of course, this can be in conjunction with psychological, economic, political, and cyber insults. So at the bottom there, what it says is most of the world's population are victims of something called cognitive warfare. And essentially, governments have gone, I'd say, rogue. They're basically trying to establish power they've got no right to possess. And sadly, because of psychological manipulation, many people are actually assisting them towards this.
Mm.
They can be best described as, I know it sounds unsavory, but a suicide cult. They're
Mm.
bent on establishing a totalitarian new world order. So it's important that we understand what's going on in terms of the problem, so we can react accordingly and, adapt
Mm.
and become resilient with the right mindset and the right knowledge of how to go forward. So, on that note, should we have a look at some more equipment?
Okay, we'll just do this. We'll just take these
Yeah.
off. Right, here we go. Yeah, I'll be interested in looking at some more equipment.
Yeah.
It's, that's fascinating what you're saying, though. Um, and it's all going back to, the government are the slave masters. We are
Yeah.
the slaves.
Yeah.
And
I
when,
mean,
when we protest, we're saying, please, slave master, don't whip us so hard.
exactly. I mean, I'd like to think that every one of your listening audience, I'm pretty sure they will have got a very, very good idea what's going on in the world. Perhaps there's people outside of this network, this
Mm.
channel, your listening up viewers who have got less of an idea, and it's important for them to be educated so they know that actually they're supporting something that's criminal in nature and undoubtedly evil as well. So this isn't a good place to be. People need to wake up essentially, and if they're not woken up already, it's down to us to spread this unfortunate news further afield. But
Mm.
looking at some more equipment, do you know what? I'm going
Okay.
to look. I'm going to look at something called that falls under shelter. So we've talked about that.
Okay.
Shelter is massively important, especially in winter
Hmm.
time, to protect against cold, snow, rain, poor weather. So here's a couple of inexpensive items. Whoops.
Life 10.
Right. Life
That's
tent. Yeah.
interesting.
Right. I'm going to pull out the bag. This was, I'm pretty sure this was about £7. It wasn't particularly
Really?
expensive. Yeah.
£7?
Yeah.
Life
So,
10. I'm fascinated to watch this. What on earth
right.
is it? I've never heard of it.
Obviously, I'm not going to put it up because it's too big, but this
Yeah.
is basically, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you the picture that it came with. That's a life tent.
Bloody
So
hell.
it's a mylar sheet. It's
Yes.
basically a mylar tube tent, you could say. And
I'll write this
all you,
down.
yeah, it's also got the silver the silver reflecting surface on the inside. It's also green, like a camouflage type material
Wow.
on the outside. Right. The good thing about this comes with a piece of string. Tie the piece of
Yes.
string from one tree to another. Thread it through the tube tent, and you've got an instant shelter. Now, literally, that can be achieved in, as little as 2 minutes. So within 2 minutes, you can have a fairly effective tent. So
Wow.
for less than
Life.
£10, yeah. So definitely a recommendation. Now I've got something called a survival cache, which is a basically a plastic box, which
Mhm.
is sealed from the elements and buried in the ground in strategic locations. So I would have a life tent in my survival cache, and if I needed it, well, I've got instant shelter, and it's inexpensive and fairly reliable.
That's amazing. And also, isn't it right that never, ever go pitch your tent in a field, always in a forest, because the trees keep you a little bit warmer. Is that any
Yeah,
fact
that's
in
a
that
really good
theory?
point. Yeah, yeah. Condensation's a
Uh,
big problem with pitching in a field, so you've got to be on your guard for that.
yeah.
So on a similar thing, this fits in a small plastic bag. It's very similar. This is called an emergency bag. It's just a survival bag. Okay, but this is also made out of a similar fabric. It's like a mylar, very thin. I mean, they're not massively robust, but for a few nights
Mm.
or in an emergency situation, these are terrific. Very inexpensive. Again, these will fit in a pocket without too much bulk and weight.
Mm.
So something to look out for. And again, just I mean, there's other variations, but you can basically get something like that from Temu for buttons. Now, if you want to go for a more expensive version, something that's going to last you a long time, more durable,
Oh
and
yes. Yeah.
again, if money's not an issue, I would definitely go for one of these. So it's a very similar thing. It's just an oversized sleeping bag
Mm.
without the insulation, but it's made of Gore-Tex fabric. So this is waterproof and it's
Hmm.
breathable. So you put this over the top of your sleeping bag, and if you're sleeping in a tent or sleeping in a survival situation in a improvised shelter, this will keep your sleeping bag dry and it'll provide extra insulation.
That's
However,
interesting.
so it's a Gore-Tex bivy bag, and you
Gore-Tex
can
bivy
see
bag.
it's a bit more bulky than the emergency bag was.
Yeah.
A lot more bulky, but again, terrific bits of kit. Definitely recommend
It
one,
is.
especially if you are, you want to get on the outdoors more often and concentrate on outdoor activities.
Gore-Tex
Definitely
bivy, because
recommend that.
eBay is the place to go because I sell a lot of army surplus stuff on there. I've seen
Yeah.
a lot of bivy bags, and I thought they were just bags to shove your uh, sleeping bag in. I didn't realise that they were used to keep you warm. Something I've learned there. I didn't know that.
They'll provide a few degrees extra of insulation over a sleeping bag.
That's what you need.
So
Yeah.
yeah, And
That's
again,
amazing.
the last thing you want is your sleeping bag getting wet. Now, I'm not going
Yeah.
to take this out, but this is another, again, if you want a Christmas wish list, if we're sleeping outside, we want to be protected from the ground. So if you're sleeping outside, or you have a shelter, you need something to sleep in, something to sleep on, and something to sleep under. So to sleep to sleep under would be something like that.
I
To
see.
sleep in would be the bivy bag with
Mm-hmm.
a sleeping bag, and to sleep on is an insulating mattress. So I'll just open the top of this so you can peer inside. This is called a thermarest. And again, there's probably other makes out there, but this is a inflatable mattress. So I don't know if you can see that. There's the
I
valve.
see it, yeah.
Yeah, so blow into that. It will self-inflate to some degree, but put a few lungfuls of extra air in when you've got yourself an inflatable mattress. Very light, doesn't take up a great deal of weight, but again, I've had one of these. I don't know. This one must be 20 years old, and it's never had a puncture, so it's a terrific bit of
Yeah.
kit. Again, they're expensive, so as I say, some of these items are kind of
Mm-hmm.
Christmas wish list items, if you like.
Yeah. Oh, that's just fascinating. But
Right,
I've
still on
really
the.
learnt a lot so far. I mean, I've learnt about the Biffy bag. I didn't realise it. So thanks,
Oh,
mate.
well.
I've really, it's fascinating. It really
Well,
is interesting.
still on the subject of shelters, because shelters are
Mm.
important. Believe it or not, this little contraption here, this bag, has got a waterproof shelter in it. It's got tent pegs, and it's got some string for tying up. Okay, tent
Wow.
pegs. So this is quite light, doesn't take up a great deal of weight or space, and it is under £10.
Bloody
So
hell.
it doesn't have to be a fortune to be able to, get yourself out in the woods and do some
Lifesaver.
survival. Yeah.
That's right. It'd be a lifesaver, really, because, it's one of these things you don't realise how useful such something like that would be if you're freezing cold and it's chucking it down with rain or sleet.
Hmm.
It's incredible. Yeah. Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
I just carried in there, but I'm fascinated with all this.
Yeah. I like there's somebody put a great comment. Hereditors get fucked under a tenter. I don't know if that
Under a
was
tenter.
intentional. Yeah. I don't know if it was intentional,
Under a
but yeah, I
tenter.
like it. Yeah. So,
Hello. Sorry, it's our transport secretary, ambassador.
all right. Hey, oh,
Evening, mate.
hi, Paul.
Evening, mate. It's Paul. Yeah. Evening,
Yeah.
Paul.
Nice one. Right, a couple of other things I'm going to show and demonstrate. Again, nothing mega exciting,
Mm,
but in order to help fasten some of these shelters together and to help with, even if you're making an improvised shelter, we do need some sort of cordage.
mm,
So this is called paracord. I'll show that a bit
yeah.
closer. As you can see, it looks fairly robust and thick. Good stuff.
Mm,
This is a great alternative. It's really, really strong. It's very thin. This is
yeah.
called Bankline, BANK, Bankline. And again, it comes on a big roll, and you can cut this to lengths and have, rolls. Put a roll in your pocket, a hank of paracord in your pocket, or if you want, have a little combination wrapped onto a. This is just wrapped onto a piece of plywood. I've got paracord, and I've got some, garden
Mm,
twine attached as well. So you've got, you don't always want to have thick paracord for some of the tasks you're doing. So they're string essential. So
yeah.
a key survival item. You could always,
Yeah.
if you want to carry tape as well, I would
Mm,
massively recommend sticky tape like this
mm.
cloth tape or bodge tape, as it used to be called.
Or duct tape. Is that
Duct tape,
duct
yeah,
tape? Yeah.
got
But,
loads of uses.
and now Exo says, what about, you're talking about this? Is Exo talking about Viagra? He said, what about these self-erecting recent tent devices? Don't know.
I can't say
I
I've
don't.
used them.
Can't say I've
Is
seen
it?
them.
I know that you can get air inflatable ones. I don't know if he's
Hmm.
referring to that, or is it the ones that kind of spring up, like
Hmm.
the ones you get for the festival type tents.
I think he's probably meaning the festival type ones. I don't know. I never used one.
I mean, if he is, I mean, they're great. They do go up very quickly, but they're always quite complicated to get back down. I've noticed. So that's
Good
yeah,
point, that is. I mean, let's
yeah,
face it, you can't get simpler than two trees, a bit of string across, and the old tarpaulin jobby over the top,
yeah,
or that
exactly,
tent. So that's about the simplest. Was it keep it simple, stupid?
exactly. Yeah. I mean, we used that as that was almost our mantra in the army: keep it simple, stupid.
Mm.
So, the more complicated the plan, the more complicated you try to achieve something, the more chance of that particular thing going wrong. So, keep it simple, stupid. Right,
Because
we've
of pop
talked.
pop up tents. Sorry, you just
No,
came
no,
back with
no
pop up
problems.
tents. Yeah,
Yeah.
pop up tents.
All right. Yeah.
And
So,
I can back up. Sorry, I don't mean to chime in here. I can back up what you said because somebody I know has said that if you go to the what's that festival in Somerset? Oh, I can't think of its name. Uh, it's been there for years. There's a rock festival in Somerset every year. I
right.
can't think.
I'm
Glastonbury
just
Festival. Glastonbury
Glastonbury.
Festival.
Yeah, okay.
And he said if you go the last there and you see where the yuppies have been, you see all their pop up tents because they can't be bothered to pack them away. So they can't, he said, if you want a free tent, he said, go there when they're at and he said that they're almost giving them away.
Yeah.
He said, so
Yeah.
you want a free tent, go to Glastonbury Festival after it's all closed. He said, you see them blowing around in the field, you know. Anyway, sorry, mate, I didn't mean to cut
No,
in.
it's
Oh,
not.
evening, Iraq, Paul.
Apologies for the delay in arriving, but yeah, it's been to see
You're
me.
more than welcome.
Hey, on there.
It's slightly later than planned. Not transport related, but
Yeah, anyway, I'm sorry, Steve, I did chime in, so far away.
No, not at all. Well, do you know what? Before we go on to the gong bath thingy, why don't we
Mm.
have a look at a few cutting tools because we've
Oh,
talked about the
yeah.
string, and unless you've got particularly sharp teeth, you're going to need something to cut your string with. Now we've already looked at the Leatherman with the
Hmm.
knife blade, but we might need something more substantial for surviving the apocalypse. So this is one recommendation. This is under £10, so let me pull that out. As
Yeah,
you can
that's a
see,
knife. That's a
and
knife.
I say it's a
believe
crocodile Dundee moment. Crocodile Dundee moment. That's
Yeah.
not a knife.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
a
knife.
knife.
well, this isn't particularly big. That's about a 4-inch blade, I'm guessing,
Mm.
but quite robust. And these are less than £10, and they come with a really, really razor sharp. They come with a very strong sheath, and for £10, you can't go wrong with that.
Wow. What are they? Was there a
Um,
trade name?
yes, this is called a Mora knife, Mora. So I would definitely
Mora.
recommend them if you don't want to spend a lot of money on survival kit. Less than £10, you can buy one of them.
That's a
Mora
beauty, isn't
knife.
it? Because have you heard that or K for Keir Starmer? This is true. They're looking at banning pointed knives. Seriously,
All
people might
right.
injure themselves.
Is there any
How
other
do you
type?
ban pointed? How do you ban pointed knives? I mean, chefs use them.
Yeah,
Everybody bleeding uses them.
yeah, exactly. The world's
What
gone
Yeah.
nuts.
does that mean
Yeah.
that won't be able to buy scissors anymore? We'd have to can only buy the little plastic ones you get
Yeah.
at like school
The
that
blunt
don't
one,
cut
blunt
anything.
ends. Yeah.
It'd be
Well,
quite entertaining trying to cut someone's finger off with that, wouldn't it? Come on.
we've we've had a look at one type of knife. This is
Yeah.
a bit more expensive, but this is you could say this is a combat knife, an infantry knife, a
Bloody
multi-purpose
hell.
survival knife, robust. It's got a window breaker on the tip, but a good solid knife
That's a good one. That
and
is.
a good solid sheath. It's to carry it in. But
Question question is though, Steve, how do you know which one you should and shouldn't carry? Because I mean, you could end up taking that many out with you that you like
yeah,
end up with like a cutlery drawer full of it. Do you have certain ones that you think I must take that one and that one?
Yeah. I mean, if you just wanted an all-round knife for general use in the woods, survival situations, I would just go for that. £10. I mean, I've got more expensive versions, but in fairness, if I
I think
lost
they're
it, I wouldn't.
Swedish, aren't they? Swedes
Yeah,
used to do a lot of good
yeah.
knives, you know.
I'm pretty sure
It's,
that's Swedish. I mean, as
mm,
an example, that's less than £10. That's probably going to cost around £70. But if you want to go, you're talking about Crocodile Dundee. I don't know if this will fit on the screen. That's not a knife. This is a knife, right?
now
This is
that's a knife.
this is called an MOD survival knife, and obviously you can't feel the weight of it at home. But trust me, you've got this in your hand because it's almost like a hammer. And if we look at the profile of that, we can see it's very thick. So it's a big lump of metal. So it's great for chopping trees and logs and this, that, and the other. So it's
Wow.
not massively sharp, but it is very, very robust. So again,
Army
awesome,
surplus, mate.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of these will cost you about £50.
Bloody
This
hell.
is the MOD survival knife. Now, can I show one last piece of cutting
Yeah, this is
equipment?
fascinating. This
Right,
that's a beauty, that isn't it? That one.
right. This is coming off my Christmas shelf, and before you ask, no, sorry, this isn't a knife, right?
Isn't it?
So no, it's not a knife, but it fits into this. I'm trying to get this on the screen. Fits into this pouch. And if you want something decent for cutting, because processing wood is massively important, what we've got here is a folding bow saw.
Wow.
So trying to get this on the screen. So a folding bow saw, so you can process some good amounts of firewood with this device here, and it dismantles. Try and do this without injuring myself.
It looks a lethal weapon, doesn't it? My
Yeah, you've got to be
godfathers.
careful with it. But again, compact. It's a little bit easier to carry than a standard bow saw. But again, if you want to spend a bit of money, I think these are about 30 or 40 quid. So
Hey,
definitely recommended.
it's not bad.
I'm assuming for firewood you need to be searching specific. I mean, I guess this time of year where everything's damp, you'd be really restricted as to what you could and couldn't pick. Should we
Yeah,
say? Get
that's a
it.
good point, Paul. So what you want to look
Mm.
for is what's known as standing dead wood. So when there's a tree which is obviously dead because it's got no growth on it, you can tell it's fallen apart. But it's still upright. So try to cut a little bit, maybe above waist height, so there's no chance of water penetration in that standing in deadwood. So that's what you want to be looking for, standing deadwood. If we're trying to collect smaller pieces of timber, such as kindling, you want again deadwood. That's when you pick it up and you break it, it makes a clear, distinct snapping sound and it doesn't bend. So you know that's thoroughly dry. Should make good kindling.
And how long would so if you took let's say somebody you take a chop off a log, let's say or off a tree, how much would you need in order to perhaps see you through the night? Would you need like a massive mound, or would one slice, fairly thick slice, be enough to keep the fire going for quite some time?
That's another great question.
That is a good one, isn't it?
What I would do is double whatever you think you need, double it because you can guarantee it'll be 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like, oh dear, we've burned through all that wood. Now it does go really quickly. Wood burns quickly, and if you need a fire going all night, you need quite a large amount. So I mean, I've done survival training in the Arctic, and essentially, in order to survive the night, we spent the entire day processing firewood. So the whole day processing firewood just to see us through the night. So it's probably more than you think. Here's another thing as well. We tend to think that we need to have a big, huge fire. The bigger the fire, the more it's going to consume the wood. So we need to keep that sensible as well. I'm sure the native Indians had a great saying. It was something like white men keep warm by collecting firewood, whereas the native Indian keeps warm by just having a small, manageable fire. nothing more than he needs. So
That's a good bit of advice there. And,
yeah.
and I read just Get Foot said he's got a Summit Gobi tent.
All right, cool. Yeah,
That sounds
sounds
nice,
like
yeah.
a sounds like a mount. I think it's a what do you call it? A four-season mountain tent.
Don't know. Never heard of it. But Exo said by the time you finish, Steve, your survival kit will need a Land Rover. I think you got one, and khaki green trailer to transport it all. We don't take the bleeding lot when you're going out.
Yeah.
Can you pack the lorry in now? Is that right? 40-foot
Uh,
container on the back. Well, I've taken it all to make sure I've got it all.
well, when I must admit, I do have a Land Rover as it happens, a zombie apocalypse vehicle. But when I do survival courses and whatnot, I obviously take loads of gear, and to be honest, it soon adds up. So
Yeah.
it's sometimes a hard job just keeping kit sensibly packed and not take too much. So it's a great point.
Is it fair to say it's a nice old Land Rover, one that's just basically an engine and some seats, so you don't no mechanical? It's just mechanics and nothing more.
No, well, I was going to say I've had more than my fair share of problems with mine. Like, spend a lot of money on engine repairs and stuff. But I must admit, it's been a terrific vehicle.
So when you did the Arctic then survival there, I presume finding trees was quite a challenge because obviously we're told the further north you go, or further south, depending on what we live
Yeah,
on, that trees become less commonplace.
yeah, the further north, I guess. Yeah, but I mean, you still get them. But I tell you one thing. Probably one thing to bear in mind is trying to cut wood when you're on snow. So if you're on a 6 foot mound of snow with all that snowfall, and then try to cut wood with an axe or something, it's almost physically impossible. So it's got a lot of challenges in sort of Arctic regions.
And also, you got to worry about the huskies getting frozen to trees if there is any trees when they go for a pee. Yeah. Sorry.
Pulled a
Just,
husky off a lamppost.
I mean, let's face it, though, it must be very difficult to have a pee when it's sort of -40. I mean, is it a leg job? You know, just think, oh, no, I just pissed down my leg. I mean, I'm not going to get the old fella out, might freeze it off, you know.
You'd be lost just thinking that. If it's that cold, hang about. Where's it gone?
Yeah. Well, I tell you what. I mean, if you want, I mean, are you up for a sound bath?
Why
And
not have
then
a sound bath? Way, yeah,
we
we're
do
up
that.
for it.
Then since
Yep.
we've been talking about cold weather, we've got some cold weather clothing items to look at, so we can cover a little
Righto.
bit of that.
So,
So
sound bath, here we come.
yeah, I'm going to have to do a little bit of manoeuvring with the old
Righto.
computer and stuff, but
Oh, by
bear
the way,
with me.
just one quick update, Steve.
Yeah.
Is the table that you were attacking a few weeks ago still intact?
Oh, I think I got into a bit of trouble for that. It's still there though. Right.
It is some poor sod's cafe, I think he was doing it, wasn't he?
One careful owner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me.
40 others, but one careful one. Now, we're going to see, I think it's Christy. Here she comes. This is Steve's wife. Is going to get the sound bath ready. She's got a bubble bath there ready. And hello.
Good evening.
So this is Daisy. She's doing a sound bath. She's also saying if you can close your eyes for the full experience, but
Righto.
sit back and enjoy the sounds for the next few minutes. Okay.
Okay, here we go then.
Is everyone awake? You still there?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, that's
I'm still
Daisy.
there. Well, bit of a clap. There we are. Daisy, very nice. Excellent, that is, Daisy. And
It's Daisy's Zenden. So
wow, and that's a bloody big gong, isn't it? I mean, where'd you get a gong like that from? Did you go to Himalayas or something? Or
wow. Do you know? I'm not entirely sure. I don't think they're particularly cheap, from what I recall.
I don't think they are, no. But Exo said it's a damn fine, huge gong.
Yeah.
And something strange, what Alice Gorgeous said. She said, I can't hear a thing. That happened months ago when my mate played his gong on Skype.
Oh
Weird, isn't
wow.
it?
Yeah. I hope other folk could hear it. It would be a shame not to. But
That's right.
um,
Oh, I think everybody must have. I mean, I heard it. I mean, it's very
Yeah.
nice. Trouble is, I had to keep one eye sort of open because I had to see all the
yeah,
control
yeah,
areas working.
yeah.
Hang on, someone, Stephen Trusika says it sounds like a 1970s rock album. She's very clever.
Yeah.
Daisy, Alice Gorgeous says, Daisy, we love you. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll all add to that. We all love Daisy. It's
I'll
very
have to
nice.
she said, "Daisy, we love you." So just saying thank you very much. So I hope well, those
Oh,
who
it's
could hear it,
lovely.
I hope you could hear it all right and enjoyed that. But it's
We must do this more often.
yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
Maybe could do with having that as your sort of load up music, something to
Yes.
relax the audience before we start
Yes.
off with some fart jokes or something. Reel them in.
Well, we still got we got James. We got thank you, Daisy. That was awesome. And we got James Cole said thanks.
Yeah.
And was it Asperger's as fudge? Has to be cultural attaché. Says sounded great.
Mhm.
James
The
Cole
fog,
said
the fog and
was
Christmas Hall #1. He's also put, yeah.
Rasmus Cole number one. Yeah. Yes, it could be. Yes, you never know. But
So if anyone's not had a sound bath before, and I suspect some people already have, but they are massively stress relieving, relaxing,
hmm,
hypnotic. Quite often fall asleep and you feel refreshed and renewed afterwards. So if anyone's interested, I would definitely get down to your local sound bath.
hmm.
Get one of them under your belt, and you'll definitely improve on mental health and all sorts. So superb
That's,
relaxing therapy.
I've said on
It
occasion
is.
I do listen to healing music
Mm.
on YouTube called Yellow Brick Cinema. Some
Right?
plays some
Really?
nice healing music on there.
Well, last night when we had Al on, he's going to play some music, and I thought, oh, bloody hell, it's going to be rap music, you see. I can't stand rap. I really can't stand rap. To me, it's verbal diarrhea.
Mm.
It's
So I'm
missing a
sitting there,
C.
that's right, it's missing the C. And I'm sitting there thinking, and when it came on, it was a pleasant surprise. It wasn't rap. It was something
Mm.
I haven't heard before. It was really unusual. But I kind of liked it, actually. I thought it was quite good, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
but if it's rap, I'm sorry,
Mm.
Eminem, things like that just doesn't do anything for me. But
Yeah.
that sounded, that was sounding. Now, I believe that Daisy does them regularly, doesn't she? I think
Yeah.
when you have your survival courses and things like that. And
Yeah, so she'll often do one in the forest, so it's like forest bathing with sound therapy as well.
oh,
So
that's fantastic. Excuse me,
yeah,
late night last night. Now, Blue Racers, is Daisy a shaman?
no, not as far as I know.
Yeah. And
um,
sound bars are activating.
mm,
That's always
yeah.
gorgeous.
Well, of course,
So
we're vibrational beings, aren't we? And the higher vibration stuff is what makes us heal and looks
Yeah,
after us, which is what the mainstream's been doing its best to remove with the bells
spot
and that
on.
sort of thing. That's exactly
Oh,
what
you're
that
right.
was all about. So
And do you know
that was our way of healing.
the didgeridoo was a healing stick, and they used to use it to heal people. And they reckon a cat, when it purrs, is healing itself, and it can help to heal us.
oh
So,
wow, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Is
So
it's
that why Ralph
didgeridoos,
Harris liked the didgeridoo?
sorry.
Is that why Ralph Harris liked playing with his didgeridoo then?
Oh, he liked his didgeridoo. You imagine being a child in hospital in the 1970s, and they said, "Unfortunately, Jimmy Savile can't visit you all today," and you think, "Oh, that's a relief." And suddenly you hear a didgeridoo sound coming up the stairs. Yeah. Oh,
I'm ready to go home now. The leg that's falling off has healed itself.
We're all okay. You know? Well, as I said last night, Rolf Harris admitted that the Sunrise, when he first recorded it, I think it's 1964, in this country, they didn't have any didgeridoos, so they did it on violins. Seriously. Yes.
should we have a
So,
look at some winter
oh,
clothing?
winter clothing. Yes, please.
Yeah,
Yes. So that's interesting.
because we're obviously doing Solstice Survival, so we've got a winter theme going on here. So do you
Yeah.
know what? I'm going to start off with a pair of gloves. So these are just standard ski gloves from, I believe they're like Lidl's or Aldi's. So they're
Yeah.
not the world's greatest. However, do you know when you've got wet hands and you try to get
Yes.
gloves on or off and you've got wet fingers and it just won't work, or you try to pull it out and
Yeah.
the liner comes out? Right, so this is a little top tip for dealing with wet hands with gloves. Right, garage forecourt, get yourself some of these protective disposable gloves. Stick one of them on, then your hand shall slide into the glove without any problem whatsoever, even if they're wet. All right, so a little top
Wow.
tip there.
And it'd be warmer as well, wouldn't they? Because it stops all the sweat getting into your gloves, so your gloves
Yeah,
will get warm, be warmer.
yeah.
But if your hands are wet, would that not stop your hands from drying out, as it were, having plastic over them?
Yeah, to some degree, I guess it could still be damp. But again, if you really want to get your gloves on, there's nothing worse than you know, being unable to get a glove on just because your hands are damp. But yeah. So
That's
speaking of
interesting.
gloves, this is another thing we can do. So if you're a cheapskate like me, get your old pair of socks, pair of woolen socks, preferably.
Yeah.
Cut them so you've got a winter wrist over. So you might not be able to wear gloves because you're doing some sort of
Mm.
manual task, holding a knife or something. So you've still got some elements of your hand protected with an old pair of socks. So again,
Wow.
cheapskates will love that one. And you can
People
also
like me, yeah.
wear them in conjunction with a pair of what you could say are contact gloves, just a thin pair of gloves, but you want a little bit of extra protection. You
That's
can stick
bloody
your
good.
wrist over, like
Wow.
so. Again, just a
Fantastic
little,
on a push
little
bike as
top
well.
tip. Yeah,
Good on a bike. That's a bloody good tip, that is. I like that one.
yeah, it's nothing worse than being cold, especially cold hands. Now, speaking of which, here's another couple of top tips. I mean, mittens are much warmer than gloves. So gloves will kind of restrict blood flow, but a pair of mittens, your fingers are together and you've got a much better chance of keeping your hands warmer in mittens. The trade-off, obviously, is you get less dexterity. But if you have to perform a task, take your hands out, do your job, put your hands straight back into the mittens. And of course, there's less chance of, if your hands are damp, less chance of having that awkward sensation of being unable to get your hands in properly. So mittens are a must-have. Now, if you want to go
Mittens.
for poor man's mittens, right, a pair of wool socks. Okay, you will not look cool down the shopping mall doing
Mm.
this, but again, if you ain't got mittens and you don't want to splash out £5 for a pair or whatever they are, a pair of socks. And if your hands are freezing, which a lot of people will complain about in winter conditions, survival conditions, that's what you can use. Now, the reason I've got this is one of the best things that the British Army have ever done, is they've invented a fantastic pair of socks made out of wool, superbly warm, superbly comfortable, and they'll last for ages. So I would definitely recommend on your Christmas list, get yourself some British Army wool socks. Okay, you want to
Brilliant.
minimize getting blisters as well, so you've got some great socks there, and you don't
Mm.
have to spend a fortune on the latest hiking socks from Berghaus or something. You just go straight down the Army Navy store.
And they're wool, which is better, best material a lot. And
Yeah.
I guess, did you hear about the K-pop conspiracy? Apparently, during World War II, K-pop was used as insulation. And the Japanese, K-pop came from areas where the Japanese held. So the Americans came up with synthetics as insulation. And at the end of the war, they just carried on with the synthetics. But K-pop apparently is better than wool, but they don't use it as insulation anymore because the synthetics took over. So they,
Okay.
yeah,
I didn't
that's
know
the
that.
reason why you've only got wool, but you don't use K-pop, which is,
Okay.
is yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Hmm.
K-pop.
I wasn't aware of that.
No, I wasn't beforehand.
So the next insulation layer we're going to look at is, and I'm pleased to say, Eric is sporting a rather fine example, the shamag. So as you can see, Eric's wearing his around his neck.
Yes, right.
This is just a large rectangular, or perhaps even square cotton material, but this is massively versatile. So all survival kits should have one of these. These can be worn around the neck. They can be fashioned into a hat, worn as a hood. They can be used in desert areas to keep dust out your nose and mouth. They can keep the sun off you. You can wear them as a blanket. You can Again, it's hard to demonstrate on such a small screen, but you can make a first aid arm sling out of them, or you can use them as a pressure dressing to, on bleeding wounds, or a
Mhm.
water filter. So many uses for one of these. Of course, it doubles up as a towel. So if you're wanting to get washed in a river when you're out camping or on your survival activities, you've got a means of getting dried. So these have got so many uses that they should be included in all your little survival um,
They're brilliant. I'd be
items.
lost without mine. And what I like about them is they fold up small. So if it suddenly the sun comes out and it gets a bit hot, you can take it off and shove it in your skyrocket in your pocket, and
Yeah,
that's it. They're so small.
brilliant.
So
Right. So there's one other item of clothing I'm going to look at. And again, there's probably loads of things we could look at in more detail, but this is something that's often overlooked. When it's cold outside and you're out in the woods or the forests or whatever, um, we might have a warm jacket on, we might have a waterproof on top, hat and gloves. But what we do quite often neglect is our trousers, our legs. So these, I'll stand up a little bit. Again, sorry about the image quality there, but these are what's known as bothy trousers. Let me just,
bothy trousers.
yeah. So these are like wearing a sleeping bag on your leg. So you can
Wow.
see there's the waist. You've got a full length zip up the trouser leg, so you don't have to take your boots off. Basically, zip these onto your legs, and then you've got warm insulation to cover the 50% of your body that tends to get neglected. So when you're
Mm.
wearing a pair of these, if you let's just say you're static, you're not moving around much, put a pair of these on, you'll instantly feel a whole lot warmer.
Wow.
So again, the idea of that is don't neglect your legs. So you can
Bothy
see,
trousers.
yeah,
I guess you get what army surplus jobbies or
yeah. I mean, these are army surplus, and I've seen these on the likes of eBay for about a tenner. So
wow.
a no-brainer that one.
It really is because, especially if you're cycling, your naughty bits get very cold.
Yeah. There's one other little top tip that I'm going to just demonstrate for in terms of keeping warm in winter conditions. Now, you've mentioned cycling. You'll probably recognise that. This is a cyclist's woolly cap or
Yeah.
cap. It's thin, but what I tend to do is I'll buy one of them, and they're very inexpensive. If you go to the likes of, do you know when you've got the bike stuff in the likes of Aldi or Lidl?
Yeah.
So these, you get one of them for a couple of quid, and get your standard woolly hat, and you either put this on first and then put your second hat over the top, or you somehow stitch that in. So what you've got is basically an extra liner for a standard hat. So, double the
That's a
warmth.
bloody good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
And
that idea.
here's one I prepared earlier. So
Oh, yeah.
this is my favorite hat because it's double thickness, really warm. Happy
That's
with that.
brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. That is. Adds to the layers, doesn't it? That's a bloody good idea.
Exactly. So should we have a look at the next slide, or do you want to have a look at some more kit?
Up to you. I wouldn't be, it's entirely up to you.
Um,
Hang
how
on.
about the next-
Exo said, what was it? Eric found some nifty army trench coats for a bargain price on eBay recently. That's right. Yeah, they're American trench coats, and they were, I think, about 16 quid. Real gabardine, and they got inside. It's the American firm that made them. It's got them on there. I think they're from the 70s. But bloody hell, talk about warm.
You'll have to take a photo or show it on your camera or something sometime. I'll put a link on Survive the Apocalypse because
Yeah, I will.
quite interested in one of those.
I'll put a link through at the end of the show. That'd
Yeah.
be good, and it'll be on Survive the Apocalypse. That's
Wow,
brilliant.
Well, I often endorse military surplus items simply because they're robust, they're cheap, relatively affordable, and also they come in kind of neutral colours. So if you want to keep a low profile during the apocalypse, it's a great item to go for. Well, speaking of items, another little Christmas list gadget, if anyone's interested, this is a Baofeng radio. These you might have seen these mentioned on many other channels before. I'll hold that a bit closer. Baofeng. So these,
Valfend.
yeah, these are about 25 to 30 pound. Obviously, you need two of them if you want to communicate to somebody. But these are a great little survivors radio. Um, Again, if anyone's looking into communication devices, consider this. This has got an extended battery on the back of it, and it's also
Bloody
got
hell.
an aftermarket antenna as well. So
How long do the batteries last on that then, Steve?
you probably, with sort of minimal use, you probably get a couple of days out of it. But again, cold conditions as well, batteries will deteriorate quicker. So batteries, it's worth keeping items like this in amongst your clothing to keep sort of body heat against that battery to keep it functioning properly.
I
By the
presume
way,
the
would you like
challenge is
to
also.
would
I
you like to
presume the
see that
challenge.
coat? Sorry,
Sorry,
please continue.
I was going to say. I presume the challenge is trying to keep that dry and out of any potential wet weather that may be around.
Yeah, exactly. You want anything electric, you want to keep out of the elements.
Do you want to see that coat? Because I found it.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on a minute. I've pressed the wrong bleeding button. There we go. Right, here we go. And where are we? Here it is. Share. And there it is. Can you see it, everybody?
Nice.
Can you see it?
I
Yeah,
thought we
it's
were going to have the
$39.90.
show live for a second then. I thought you were going to be on the catwalk for a second there, Chris.
That's right. Here he is posing. Trench coat, original US vintage, AG44. It's 40 quid basically, but if you buy one that's slightly soiled, bit like trousers, slightly soiled, you get it a bit cheaper. You can get them for $29.99. But there
Excellent.
it is. And I think it's from the Vietnam. I think it's from the Vietnam area. It could have been later. I don't know. But it's got all the, it shows you it's made in Illinois, I think it was, and they're made in all different places. I think what happened is when the Americans gave up the draft, they started to continue with contracts because their army shrunk, and that's why there's a lot of surplus from armies. So it was from about late 70s or mid 70s, and I think that's where it's from. But it is a proper trench coat, and it's a very smart. And you wouldn't think it's military; you'd think it's a civilian,
Yeah.
Yes. And Alice Gorgeous says not a flasher, Mac. No, that although it's got inside, it says can be used for flashing. So that's pretty good, So
Is that what the
flashers
the
approved.
foiled one?
That's
Yeah.
Flashing Society approved. Sorry. Anyway, you said about the radio. Sorry, mate.
I'm just pulling this out again because I think it's EXO. He's saying you're meant to have a ham radio license. Yeah. So, yeah, that's an excellent point. With these, to use these, transmitting with these, you're meant to have a radio license. So, but that's obtainable. Get yourself a ham radio license or just be a naughty boy.
Who's to know?
I guess ultimately, if we're in the apocalypse, I guess the last thing you're going to worry about is a license, and I could contact someone, but I ain't got a license.
Yeah, good point. Another item, I'm going to demonstrate these binoculars. Definitely want a pair of them for the apocalypse. Yeah, so picture the scene. You're out in zombie land and you're not sure if it's friend or foe, in a nearby village that you're walking to. You might want to have a quick perusal to see if it's safe. So a pair of small binoculars or a godsend. So again, great bit of kit, doesn't take up much room. No, these aren't massively expensive as well. So I do recommend Zombie Apocalypse Kit, a pair of binoculars.
That's good. That's brilliant. It's brilliant.
So should we have a look at another slide?
Right, so we'll look at another slide. Right, and we go over. Hang on a minute. Do. I can't remember what number we got up to. I think it was.
It was about 7 or 8 or something,
Well,
wasn't it?
we'll put 7 on, and I think it might have been. Let's put 7 on. Was it? You got? Did we talk about this?
No, so that's a great one to
Yeah.
pull up, if that's all right. We'll start from
Yeah.
there. So we've had a look at some of the problems, and we know for a fact that there's, the authorities are maybe overextending their reach quite a lot. But one thing that we can do, well, first and foremost, we need to stop responding in a manner that they have already anticipated. So they already have predicted what our mindset is going to be. As I said before, they are expecting us to panic, then obey, then consume. So, what we need to do, what we can do, is to develop that mental resilient attitude, is to basically be prepared. So, stock provisions to see you through difficult times. We can become unpredictable as well. So move with purpose and with self-direction above that of the state. In other words, don't necessarily just fall into all their traps. Lose the fear, be organized, and perhaps establish networks, friendships, circles, communities so we can become self-sustaining largely and to cooperate with people of a like mind. So this obviously takes time and effort, but there's no time like the present. So, for example, you could have a Telegram group of local people in your local area who you can rely upon should the proverbial hit the fan. But also, we want to look at the past for a vision of the future. So we know if we look at the past, at previous, like the previous 5 years, well, what have they used? Fear, deception, manipulation, social pressure, difficulties, propaganda, and finally authoritarianism. So this is kind of things that we can anticipate, and if we already anticipate it because we know our enemy, then we're going to be one step ahead of the game. And in the purple box, I've just put another list of things that we could be prepared to encounter. So increased alienation, hysteria from people who are psychologically affected. There might be limited access or further control over resources, things that we need. This could include shops. There could be what I've termed robust peacekeeping. So again, this is the police and perhaps military, being robust in their methodology. And this would kind of allude towards increasing state-imposed tyranny. So it's not necessarily things to look forward to, but as I said, if we already anticipate things, then we're already ahead of the game. So can we move to the next slide?
Here it comes.
Right, I'll be quick on this. Essentially, if we were to look at how NATO do their business, well, they've got something called the conflict continuum model. In other words, this is a never-ending circle of how they envisage the world. They don't see peace as a resolution. That neither do they want it. So there's never going to be peace. There's always going to be an ongoing circle between competition and conflict. So next slide, please.
There you go.
Right, we've talked about solutions, but we've also talked about if we're resilient and we've got some degree of preparation going on. Well, preparation, it begins at home, but don't forget other places such as your car. So your car is just a mobile caravan or a mobile shelter on wheels, a tent on wheels. We can stock that out. If you've got a workplace out of town and you've got a locker or a desk, perhaps you can stock certain, useful provisions there. But equally, let's go by that list again. The 7-part survival needs: shelter, water, fire, food, medical aid, navigation, and signaling. So if we can concentrate on providing ourselves with items that fill that category, then we're halfway there.
That's interesting.
So should we
Next.
give the slides a rest?
Okay, righto. And hang on. Whoops. I've made a mistake here. Right, here we go. Bear me a second. Having a bit of trouble.
No bother.
That's it. Right. That's it. Move. That's it. We're back. We're back again. That
So I
was
guess-
fascinating.
I guess the biggest challenge we've got is that because we're all across in different parts of the country or the world, wherever it may be, that it's knowing how we all come together should the worst case scenario happen. So I guess potentially we are fairly isolated. And I think back to like the protests that we've been on, and I mean when the COVID crap came along, and I did some of the freedom marches back in the day, and there could be a million of us there, but once that march is over, we're all basically going back to the stations and going back to our own lives. And
That's right.
if every one of us just lives in each one different town in different places, we're all isolated effectively. And I think that's the biggest challenge that I think we all face is how we, in the worst case scenario, should everything go, how we then think to ourselves, well, do we meet somewhere? Do we arrange to, obviously, transport presumably would be out, and so on and so forth. Communication would be out.
Well,
I don't know how we get
it's a
past
good
that.
point. You could say there's strength in numbers, but it's unrealistic to be able to kind of cater for such a large community of people. Really, if we can, as individuals, if we can look after ourselves and then look after our families. So if you've got kids, for example, obviously you're not going to neglect them in your survival plans, but then you might want to kind of raise that to members of your extended family. So if you've got aunts and uncles or brothers or mums and dads, etc., who might live in a different part of the town, well, we'd probably want to have some close connection to that group of people. But equally, it's also worth having, you could say, like a survival buddy, somebody who you're friends with, who's like-minded, somebody who's quite happy to share any burden, and you can offset costs. Let's say if you wanted to have some sort of provisions in store. I mean, we've looked at some items, and as you can imagine, this can be quite an expensive process. Even if we're just having food and, maybe petrol or cooking fuel or something at home, safely stored, all of that can add up. So if we can offset the cost of some of this with a survival buddy or a like-minded family member, well, really anything beyond that is a luxury. So I don't know if that helps answer that point.
That's interesting. There's a chappie on the. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut in there, but there's a chappie on the internet. He's Australian, and he swears by a fold-up bike, a 20-winch wheel, and he goes around the world, and he folds it up. And when he's going anywhere, he's got all his packs and everything on this wheel, on this bike, and you can fold it up with the pack still on it. And he doesn't bother to chain it up anywhere. He just walks into shops with it and things. And the thing is, he reckons they're the most useful of the lot because you can it helps to take a lot. You're kind of wheeling it along the road, so you don't have to cycle with it. You can actually use it to get into all kinds of places.
Yeah.
So that's one idea. It's just, I thought I'd throw it into the mix. And of course, the Germans are making bicycle caravans. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that,
made polystyrene. So as you go along, trust the Germans to come up with that.
Yeah.
They're going to invade Russia using these polystyrene caravans. Really? Yeah. Yes. They'll kill themselves laughing when they watch us. Sorry, but no, actually.
I'd be more concerned about a gale force wind coming along and think, oh, where are they?
Yeah, you so blow over. But there's a Polish bloke. He's got one that's a kind of green and grey colour, and he sort of parks in the woods, and he can't even see it.
Wow.
And he has an electric bike, and he's got an petrol generator, which he uses to charge his batteries up with. So
Awesome.
so wherever he goes, he's cycling along the road and he gets got this behind him as with a petrol motor going, and he's cycling along on an electric bike. And the good thing is there's no tax, insurance, no registration number, anything like that. So he can park where he wants.
Excellent. I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Right. Do you know what? Let's have a look at another bit of kit, because
This is good.
right. If you've got a no holds bar budget for equipment for the zombie apocalypse, I would recommend this. This is called a jet boil. So let me just describe this a little bit. A gas cylinder, a little cooking stove element. It comes with a detachable stand, and this little thing here. This is a titanium pot. So titanium's strong, lightweight. It's almost featherweight, but it comes with an insulation sleeve. So when this is heating up, I can basically pick that up with my bare hands on the insulation thing and pour the liquid, transfer it to another vessel, for example, without burning myself.
That's bloody good.
All of these items fit into the pot, so it's very compact.
Wow.
Now, cost-wise, I'm not sure what they are now, but I believe this one was around about the 80 quid mark. So not the world's cheapest options, but again, if money's no object, these are a good bit of kit, and they're very, very quick as well. And as you can see, it's like
bloody hell.
It's like a flamethrower coming out of that.
Yeah.
Bunsen burner.
Bloody hell. Use it as a weapon as well, couldn't you? So,
How long will that gas canister last?
That one, I'd be. This is a small one. I'd be happy with that over a weekend, for example. But,
really?
Yeah. But obviously, the more you've got, the better. So a couple of days out of that one, probably more. 3 meals a day type of thing, and a couple of brews. But yeah.
Yes. Now,
so that's
what's he say? So is that that's one of those posh Primus stoves things that they claim will even boil water at Everest altitudes? Probably is.
Right. This one being gas, if you're at altitude and you've got low temperatures, you're going to have problems. Gas is really poor in cold, like freezing temperatures. So you definitely want some other method of cooking. I mean, you can get alpine gas stoves, slightly different configuration, but petrol stoves are some sort of solid fuel stoves in cold temperatures. That's what worth looking at. Right. Is it worth looking at some more slides?
Yep. Let's have a look at some slides. Here we go. That was bloody. I like that stove.
Great bit of kit.
It really is. Not sure if we showed this. No, we didn't show that one. Did we show it? Hang on. This was the one before. We didn't show that one, did we?
We saw that one, yes.
We saw that one. So, okay, it's this one. Hang on. Let's remove that. And then we go on to that one. That's the one.
Excellent. So the previous slide was basically just to give us an idea of having some provisions at home, but we also want to be kind of prepared on a daily basis, so to speak. Now, there is a whole, you could almost say, a subculture, especially in America and places like China, where they talk about something called everyday carry, i.e. what does a gentleman or a woman carry on an everyday basis? Well, it's pretty predictable. You're always going to maybe have things like keys, a wallet, a mobile phone, but we want to augment that and have that resilient mindset by having extra things. So you might want to think about a notebook and pen, a torch, a pocket knife. You might want to consider some sort of item that you can use for self-defense purposes as well. So we've got 3 different pictures there. And again, obviously in the UK, you wouldn't be able to carry a big knife and a pistol, but in some countries that's acceptable. So, you've got to tailor it for the area that you live. And obviously in the UK, it's almost It's almost illegal to fart these days, so you certainly can't have a knife. You can have a knife that's below 3 inches blade length, as long as it's what's a non-locking blade. So, you've got to cater for that. So that's everyday carry. So again, it's just having a lifestyle where you're used to carrying things that might be useful should, accidents or emergencies occur. Next slide, please, Eric.
Okie dokie. Oh, yes. Here is the model Steve doing the latest Parish collection.
Yeah, as you can see, I hired in a Richard Gere, Tom Cruise, or is it a Brad Pitt lookalike? Oh no, it's either the Grinch or it's Gollum. I'm not quite sure. Right. So this is me. This is me wearing some what you could class as grey man clothing, i.e., subtle, bland, everyday clothing that's also hard wearing and practical. Things that I'm not particularly smart and I'm not particularly noticeable. So drab and dreary clothing, something that can blend into nature. But this is me pictured carrying a bug out bag. And by my bug out bag, I would that outfit that I'm wearing there, that's the clothing choices that I keep with my bug out bag. So if the worst happened and I had to evacuate quickly, I've already got a bag packed and I've got some clothing, some sensible shoes ready to bug out of that situation. So
Brilliant.
the takeaway from that is have some sensible clothing, keep it at one side, and if you have to, I don't know if you're doing some sort of survival activity or some sort of accident or emergency occurs, well, again, you're already halfway there to, dressing for the occasion. Next slide, please. Well, here's a few. It's kind of moving on at a bit of a rate here, but we know that there's a world in chains, but certain things are going to help us prepare for it. Now, what I certainly recommend on the Occult Academy for people to learn more about the dangerous world that we're living in is to research in your own time the 3 recommendations I've got here. So the first thing I've listed there is a book called The Most Dangerous Superstition by Larkin Rose. Now, if you don't want to read the book, it's not massive, but if you don't want to read it, Larkin Rose does an excellent podcast series, so you could probably catch up with that material on his podcasts. So I definitely recommend Larkin Rose. A second thing I've listed there is another book, but it's almost impossible to get hold of a paper copy. So have a look for a PDF. It's free online, and that's called The End of All Evil by Jeremy Locke. Now, this book is about 97 pages long, so you could read it in an afternoon, and I guarantee you'll be astonished how simple some of the solutions that he's remarked in there. So a really excellent book. The last thing I'm going to recommend here is a guy called Mark Passio. There's his mugshot there, the guy with the beard. And one thing I would recommend by him is his natural law seminar. Again, this is available on YouTube. However, it's about 8 hours long, but it is really, I would class, an essential viewing for anybody who wants to understand why the world is in such a dangerous place at the minute. Definitely recommend those 3 things. Next slide, please. Yeah.
We've seen a book.
Yeah, right. So here's another book, and obviously I've probably plugged this a few times by Nathan Lucius. An excellent book. I obviously recommend that. Get it in your Christmas Christmas wish list. However, there is some essential survival knowledge, and I call this survival knowledge because the essential survival knowledge is knowledge of the occult. So it's not just good enough knowing how to light a fire in the woods. and how to cut down and process firewood and make a shelter, we also need to get a better understanding of how and why the world is the way it is. So there's a big list of things there that's covered in Fake Awake. And also, if I can use this as another example, as a shameless plug for the Occult Academy. And I know quite a few of your listening audience are members of the
That's
Occult
right.
Academy. Again, if anyone's not, there's the link. I would encourage people to join that, or perhaps get a copy of Fake Awake from Amazon or Nathan.
It's a brilliant book. It really is.
Yeah.
I fully recommend it.
Well, should we have a look at some more kit or equipment, or have a discussion of what we've covered so far?
Well, we could have a bit of a discussion or look at a kit. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Hang on, I'll just get these off. Let's have a look at this. Right, here we go. There we are.
Hey,
we're back to where we are.
back in the room.
We're back. That book, it really makes you think, and along with that video about Christmas and things like that, because I think we can beat our enemy by thought alone. I really do strongly believe that. It's how we use our frequency, how we change frequency. This is what Nikola Tesla was on about, changing your frequency. Like for example, you get these cocky cocksuckle coming up to see, I'm afraid, sir, I'm going to have to blah, 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 blah. And everything is to kind of demean you. You notice when they go to search you, to put gloves on. Why do they have to put rubbers on? This has to say you're unclean, you're not quite a person. It's a ritual. That's all it is these people are carrying out ritual. Now, imagine 10 of their government thugs turn up to evict an old lady, to help people evict an old lady from a place. But we have 20 of our peace, PACE officers turn up and just tell them to go away, clear off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is the mindset we need to adopt. We need to be able to do things as a community. We can't just be individuals in this game and expect to win. We need to get together, get behind each other and support each other. So the peace officers, brilliant. I mean, and even if they're not peace officers, even if it's just a community of people who have got a little bit of know-how, a little bit of education on what's going on in the world, knowing the difference between right and wrong and sticking by it, obviously sticking by what's right, and educating people like the police, for example, the government thugs. They need to be educated, but they're not going to listen to one person on a podcast. They're not going to listen to one person in the street, but they'll certainly have more chance of listening to a big crowd of people who are educated and have got a little bit of, emotional intelligence about the situation in the wider world. And so you're exactly right. We need to change our frequency to get out of that fear vibration.
Well, I learned that on Saturday. Just briefly mentioning it, bringing it on trains just briefly. I was at Waterloo Station on Saturday, just gone, week Saturday gone, and I had some Jobsworth come down, and I knew what was coming from him. He was going to come down and tell me I couldn't take photographs, and I stood my ground and basically said, they said, "Can you come down and sign?" I said, "No, I'm not signing in." I said, "I'll be going soon." And this chap said, "Well, have you been taking photos?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "But it's a public space."
Yeah.
I said, "And I'm entitled to do so. You've got a public trains. It's a public platform. I'm entitled to take pictures from it." And he said, "I'll have to get my manager down here." I said, "You carry on then." So he got on the radio and I said, "Just make sure you let your manager know." I said, "I'll be getting the next train back out of here anyway." And his manager came down and he said, "You're photographing trains?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, carry on." So they obviously sent the minion down first to try and intimidate me, which was never going to work. And I he said, "I've got no problems with you." I said, "I've got no problems with you." I said, "But you're stamping all over my rights. I have a right to take pictures. It's not it's not a private land." So trying to be getting that positive attitude and sort of maybe just teaching them how to. Next time, that guy might think, "Well, actually, no, I'm not going to challenge him because he's not doing anything wrong." Maybe you should be going and challenging the people who are vaping on board on the platforms and things like that. That's what they should be going and doing. We have to stand up for our rights. We've got to stand up for our rights. Because if we don't, they'll take them away from us.
Well, something happened in Yorkshire. I think it was Yorkshire, 10 or 20 years ago, possibly longer. Now, there's this thing where the government has been trying to get gypsies not only to register their children, because that's why gypsies can drive around in vans without any license or drive. They don't have to have a driving license because they're not registered.
Mhm.
And the government has been trying to clamp down on Romany gypsies for years. And these Romany gypsies, they would obviously roam round, and in the rural areas, they would they knew the local community. And they're not as they were depicted like decoys who go in and robbing people and things like that. They were decent people, and they'd known these gypsies for generations. And it was in a village, and they camped on the same place every year. And the Stroppy Council said, "Oh, you can't park your vans there," even though it was a public place. And the police were called in, and the villagers came out in force and stood between the police and the gypsies, and they stood firm and told them to go away. And the police backed off, but then the bastards went in at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Of
They
course, the
came
thing
back at
is,
three o'clock in the morning.
it all links down to your Admiralty law, and obviously you'll know about this, Steve, about the law of the sea and your Mister, Miss, and Mrs. That
Mm-hmm.
is what they use against us with like bills and things like that. That's not us. I know it's a whole
Yeah.
different topic. We're on. I know you're on the
Mm.
survival things, but that's what it boils down to. We're representing something that never exists. Your straw man,
Mm-hmm.
your whatever you want to call it, your dead entity, whatever you want to classify it as.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the police break the law, because they have to lie in order to get you to transition from the the world that we actually do live in, the living, breathing man and woman world, into their world, which is a dead entity.
Yeah.
You're right.
Absolutely.
You're spot on. You're spot on. But I mean, this is this change that we need in in our mind, and I think it can work. I mean, what's this now? Mallorca. Um, so the Irish, Welsh, Scots, and English have been found to be genetic blood brothers of the Basque people. That's right. Secret Holy Grail. Scientists revealed. And this is the true history they hid. Look it up and pass it on. And also, what they've discovered, and this was quite interesting. This is, I suppose, it's still on survival. Do you know that crows have a language? And AI has just found that out. They've been
Wow.
listening, and they had a scientist did a experiment, and there's a bloke with a red hat
Mm-hmm.
that go along, and crows. They found out from their recording them. They named each human differently, and one who's friend and who's foe. And they
Mm.
said they got a very sophisticated language that they didn't realise. They thought it was just a load of noise. It isn't,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
AI is finding this out.
Is
So
that what?
I think
Is that why when I walked to town, there's some crows in the trees above there? I could keep hearing them saying "tosser."
well, it's a bit like that minor bird. I think it's Portsmouth. That was outside a pet shop many years ago. And the sailors, of course, taught it some right language and had to take it in. They couldn't leave it out there because it was so insulting. But back to survival, though, Steve. I mean, I noticed, well, over the last 5 years, the lockdown that happened literally overnight. One day, it happened really quick, and I've got a feeling that whatever they're going to throw at us will be overnight. We won't know it's coming.
Yeah.
That's it. It took me by
Yeah.
surprise.
Yeah.
But
Well, do you know what? You say it'll take you by surprise, but
mm,
we're already half on guard for the next, let's just say the next
mm,
big thing, the next psyop, the
yes,
next the next psychological operation. This is how government works. So, I mean, obviously, I berate the government and the police and the
mm,
military, even though I used to work with all three of these outfits in my former life until this actually started to work. So I engaged my brain after obviously waking up to how the world really works and some of the darkness that was going on, changed my outlook, changed my, I changed my job. When I say I changed my job, walked away from a job for no money for, and that's not an easy thing to do. But fundamentally, if we
It's
want the world to
brave.
change, do you know what? It's not so much brave. It's just doing the right thing. So I couldn't
Spot on.
continue with a job working for people who were assisting, aiding and abetting known offenders such as the government. The government are absolutely broken beyond compare. I don't think people are, when I say people, the majority of, let's say, the sleepier people are ready to contemplate just how broken this entity is.
Mm.
But what they don't yet realize is that they do not need the government to exist in this life. The government it's an illusion. It's an illusion of a religion which is dangerous in its entirety. I mean, the Occult Academy explains a lot more how and why. Same with the recommendations I've made. These various, the likes of Mark Passio, Larkin Rose, Jeremy Locke. I can guarantee if people to review that research work, which will take them, a day or two. If you wanted to get it out, you could look at that in a day or two, and be completely under no illusion that what we've taken for granted has been the product of a concept of a dangerous religious cult. That's it. I walked out of that cult. I escaped because I engaged that. And then I became resilient. And that's all we need to do. We need to become resilient. We need to be adaptable. We need to stop following this fantasy fairy tale that we think that the government is essential. The government is only essential if we want to continue with tyranny, totalitarianism, and warfare. So if you want those things in your life, crack on, do nothing, just let them divide and conquer and destroy the world around us. If we don't want that, we need to take some positive action. But first and foremost, we need to do this.
Well, I get a feeling that if they do try and bring in another lockdown or something similar, that most people won't fall for it this time. A fair percentage of people won't fall for it this time. I think a lot of people have realised. I mean, let's be honest, they're drip feeding the truth out now anyway about all the bits that have gone on since 2020 and all the links with it. So I think it's fair to say that a fair percentage of people will now realise and see through it all. Not everyone, obviously. You can't save everybody,
Well,
unfortunately.
there's still dickheads walking around with their bleeding masks on. I saw it today.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of people. Yeah. I mean, you still got them. Why? I'll never know. But
and it's more the people when I walk to work. Sometimes a chap goes past on his push bike, and he's got a mask on. You think, what a dickhead! You know, you're out in the open. You're breathing in fresh air. You're on a push bike, which itself takes a lot of work to move, and you've put a mask on. You think,
oh, so a woman takes her dogs for a walk around where I live, and she's got about 2 or 3, bleeding rats on leads, and there's no one around. There's trees, flowers, wild animals, and she's got a mask on. She thinks she's going to catch something from a tree or something. I mean, huh?
Well, that previous slide I put on before, it had 3 key words: panic, obey, and consume. And essentially, this is what the authorities will kind of rely upon the general public to be conducting. So first they'll panic, then they'll obey, then they'll just consume. So you're exactly right. More and more people are aware of it. However, if we go by George Orwell from 1984, he kind of made the claim that once the fraud is exposed, then they will have to rely upon force. Now, that's exactly the way totalitarian governments will go. So that's another thing we have to bear in mind. It's not necessarily going to be plain sailing just because we no longer consent. So we can not consent as long as we want, but if somebody wants to apply the thumb screws, then we've got some choices to make, some difficult decisions to make. So we have to be practically and physically and mentally robust and resilient in the event of this.
You're spot on there, and there's some optimism here. Warhead Rex said California and western states endured a bird flu pandemic campaign last fall, and 90% just ignored it. The resistance is baked in now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Good.
brilliant. Do you know
that
what I
is
think?
fantastic.
There's one. Well, let's just say there's a key element to. You could say to future operations in our favour, and that's getting the police and the military on board with our line of thought. Bearing in
I
mind
agree.
the truth and freedom movements are aligned towards the truth. The police and the military, for example, are living a delusion. Now, I'll
Mm.
say this as a former Special Forces soldier: the entire British Army and beyond, and I've said this many times on Eric's show, the entire army, certainly in Britain, are absolutely delusional. They're mentally retarded at this point in time. They need to snap out of this dangerous religion, stand on the right side of history, and this goes for the cops. I mean, it's the cops are absolutely disgraceful. I can't
Mm.
even justify their existence in the slightest at this point in time because they're that broken.
Yeah.
And essentially, they're
Well,
working for a broken regime.
you're spot
Well,
on.
that's the
Uh,
thing, isn't it? The police are, as it stands right now, I don't think many people even trust the police because most of them are criminals, should we say,
mm.
in inverted commas. And I don't know. Everything I see with the cops at the moment is I wouldn't trust them. I'd actually trust the criminals more so than the police
Yeah,
themselves because
yeah.
Yeah.
the major for the majority of, I mean, I know I keep on about these police audits I watch, and there's very, very, very few good cops out there. There are very few. I think in the last 5 years, the 5 years I've been watching
Hmm.
different police audits, I've seen one cop who's actually I classify as decent, who actually had the when you used to have the Bobby on the beat years ago, and he knew
Mm.
everybody in town. He was a local
That's how it should
person,
be.
and
That's how it
and
should
he knew
be.
everyone. There was some guy. There was some like Swaffham, or somewhere. It was
Mm.
over in Norfolk or Suffolk, and he invited this auditor to come out with him on just on his patrol, and he was absolutely brilliant. Every question this auditor asked him, he answered. Not a politician's answer. He actually physically answered
Mm.
it. And he was walking down the high street, and everybody knew him, and he knew everybody. And I thought that's the policing we need. He
Mm.
was the exception to the rule of basically police infringing on our rights and being disgraceful towards the public who effectively pay their wages. It's
That's right.
yeah, and I suspect he'd be the sort of cop they'd get rid of
Mm.
because he wasn't following
Wasn't
the
woke.
yeah. It was
That's
brilliant. And I thought that's the sort of cop we need. Those are the police officers
Yeah.
we need. The ones who are on our side, who know the local community. That's all we need. We don't want none of this pulling people over for speeding, and that needs to be changed to put the
mm.
onus on the driver themselves. So if they caught speeding, they are responsible for that, not a fine or insurance or. I mean,
Mm.
I know you've said this before many times, Chris, where
Mm.
we need to do away with insurance in cars and put the onus back on the driver.
I agree.
And that way, the
Yeah.
cops could do what they're supposed to do, which is basically be the Bobby on the beat and your local community officer to keep the peace, as it were, and nothing more.
Well, also, if someone's driving like a maniac, you pull them over and say, "Look, it's very dangerous. Please drive more carefully, please." Something like that. Much
Can you at
better.
least let
You
people
know.
off the bus first?
Yeah, can you let people? That's right. Yes, I like that one. That's a classic. But no, I mean, I think I think that most of the police are bullies. They're just like telling people what to do. They bully people around,
Yeah.
Mm.
and really, they should be helping old ladies across the road and being part of the community. And if literally being servants of the community. That's
Mm.
it. If someone's a
Maybe that.
bit dodgy, walking. I mean,
Maybe
once upon
that's.
a time. Sorry, carry on, mate.
No, sorry. I was saying that maybe that's where the problem lies in that they've gone from walking on the beat to actually being stuck inside a car, where they don't actually
Mm,
get involved with the community. They literally drive through 10 seconds. They don't see anything, whereas they actually walk around the estates and get talking to people. Not these police community support officers; they're a complete waste of space. But
mm.
proper coppers actually just having a walk around and just seeing, are you all right, Mildred? Are you okay? And
Yeah,
anything to report? No, 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 all is good. Nice to see you. That's all we need. That's all we need. It's just
and kids won't play up because number one, they'd be frightened of being ashamed in front of their community. And also, I mean, the old way was the cop would say, right, and take a naughty child back to his parents. The parents would sort it out. And that the humiliation of it alone, maybe I'm out of the ark or out of the old, out of some Middle Ages or something. But really, I mean, I was thinking the other day, what they got in Australia, New Zealand rather, is when you get a car, you don't have to insure it. It's a government insurance. So if you knock someone over, that person, you're automatically covered third party. But I actually think that it would be a good idea. It's optional whether you insure your car, and that's what it's like in New Zealand. But the insurance companies are responsible for the roads. And they have to put the name of the insurance company on the road. So it's a shitty road. It's all full of potholes. You say, well, I'm not going to buy insurance over there. Look at the crap look at how crappy this road is. And if there's all traffic lights are there and there's road ups all the time, say, oh, what insurance company is responsible for that? Sod them. I'm not paying. I'm not going to them. You know, I mean, that would be. And something like if you're insured, you have like a little plate on your car. So you're insured. If you're not insured, you don't have a plate on your car. But it's, I mean, the fact is, if a copper stops you, if you say, right, is there any injury, loss, or harm? Is there any? Have I harmed anybody? Caused any injury? Well, I can go my merry way then. Only if you run someone over or caused injury or whatever, then you're in trouble. But not until. It's ridiculous, all these petty thieving.
But also it needs to be a case of, in that respect, that if you do run somebody over, that you know that there's a serious consequence on the back of that. So if you do, it's maybe 50 years in prison, or you have to listen to Keir Starmer's speeches for 4 days, something like that. Solid.
Yes.
Something that's going to make you think differently and think, well, hang on a second, do I really want to listen to his speeches for 4 days? No, I won't run that granny over. I'll be a decent member. Or
only that,
or even humiliation, and go and get them to go and explain to the community why they did what they did. That can be enough to make somebody think differently.
Oh, and spend their life paying back compensation. That's another one. They'll spend almost their entire life paying back, because I don't really believe in prison. I know it sounds a bit weird. I don't. It's paying back the victim. And all right, I do believe in places where absolute loonies, maniacs that are mad axemen and things like that, who are insane, criminally insane. Yes, we've got to lock them away, safely away. But again, what they do, I think it's in Norway, they, like I was saying, we have islands where we put psychopaths on. Well, not all psychopaths. What I'm talking about is demonic psychopaths. What they have in Norway is these sort of mass murderers and that. They actually go onto an island and they fend for themselves. They've got a nice cabin and that. And the warders walk round and have a cup of coffee with them. Now, it sounds a bit weird, but they are away from society. And the reoffending rate is unbelievably low, incredibly low, because they learn, they put their mind on a different frequency. That's the ones that are not criminally insane and have got mental problems, but I do believe that putting someone in prison is a bonkers idea. Absolutely ridiculous. It really is.
Well, you mentioned the term criminally insane. I mean, you could, it probably sounds a bit of a long shot, but essentially you could say the entire police force are criminally insane.
Yes, I agree.
They're all they're following a criminally aligned government. And I'm not going to mention the arms spear situation, but we all know about that.
Yes.
Which was a criminally aligned psychological warfare operation in order to cause severe worldwide harm to millions of people, if not billions of people. And the police have supported this and they're still supporting it. So therefore they are criminally insane. If they're still in their role supporting an organization who can conduct that and either not realize it or allow it, they are criminally insane. They don't deserve a job. They should be all locked up. Obviously, that's not going to happen, because it would be almost criminally insane to think that we can lock up 100,000 people, men and women, in the UK alone for crimes against humanity. But this is where the world's at. In other words, we're in a crazy juxtaposition of somewhere between some element of the battlefield. It's an element of warfare, and we're kind of just on the closing stages of one major operation, major offensive, and more than likely facing another one. This is where we are all at in the world. So
I guess the one
Y-
thing is that we're in the end of this year's being 225, which is MK Ultra experiment. That's what that number links to. I've not found anything that links 226 in their world, so I'm hoping that maybe I suspect that the end of this year might see. Obviously, we've seen quite a few attempts at bringing psyops in, like the threat of war with Russia, for example, to control people, make people in fear, the fake flu, that sort of thing. But I'm hoping
yeah.
that maybe with 226, the things might be a bit different. And as I say, there's nothing really matches that. I've not found anything that really
mm.
links to 226, unless you know anything, Steve. But I
No,
certainly
not off
haven't
the
seen
top of my
anything with
head.
it.
No. Is it worth looking at the final few slides,
Yes,
Eric?
why not?
We
We'll
do
have a
that.
look. Right. Oh, we'll look at the final few slides. Now, where did we go now? Do. Here we are.
All right. Yes. So because it's kind of traditional after Christmas, the New Year, people make resolutions and whatnot. But I am going to say, why not consider Survival Steve's Solstice Survival Strategy? So there's 5 things on this list, and this I'll go into a little bit more detail on my Survive the Apocalypse channel. But just as a hey, well, what can we do to help ourselves become more robust as individuals? Well, here's a few things. So I'm not going to read this out in full, but fitness, if we are physically fit, it's almost a no-brainer. It's always good to be fit for any emergency. Second point to that is make a list. It's almost like make a list of survival type stores or provisions that could be of benefit to ourselves. Third thing, learn a new skill. So, as an example, if you're not very good at firelighting and you want to learn it, well, make that one of your new skills. Right, so moving on from that, organize an ERV. So, ERV, emergency rendezvous. So, this is a location, perhaps a friend's house or relative's house, where we can retreat to if, for whatever reason, our current household becomes unlivable or we need to run away for whatever particular reason. Finally, be a better barterer. So we can help develop our community networks by, instead of trading and selling with money, not that I'm saying we should get rid of it, but what I'm saying is we can perhaps trade items that are of no use to us and swap them for something that is. So it's a great way to kind of maybe get organized with your local community. So,
That's excellent. And I'll tell you
yeah,
something, when the chips are down, your neighbour can be your worst enemy. They can be your best friend or your worst enemy. That's
God, yeah.
that's that's a very. And I know that I think it was in Kosovo and things like that. They had neighbours turning their friends in and things like that.
Mm,
It happened in Cuba as well. So
hmm
and sometimes it's advisable to leg it pretty quick away from that environment. And what you're saying, the friendly neighbour today might be your worst enemy tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah. And we saw elements of that during the COVID period. So,
Yeah,
again, this isn't necessarily, over the top and unlikely. This has happened, since time immemorial.
yeah.
Do you want to move on to the next slide?
Next slide. Here we
I
go.
say, Steve, when I saw that last one, I initially looked at it, I thought, be a better bartender. That's what I thought it said.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm glad you read it out because
Right. Right. I'm going to put another shameless plug here. So if you've got a problem, no one else can help. And if you can find them, maybe you can hire the Mindset Warriors. So the Mindset Warriors is another project that I'm involved with. And again, we've talked about resilience, how to improve upon our mental stamina and also our physical preparations. So Mindset Warriors, I work with another 2 fine gentlemen really honing some of these skills. And we've got a fairly broad repertoire of what our capabilities are, So if people want to have some sort of survival type scenario that they can get involved with and come out with some good learning material, the Mindset Warriors can, is a little project that can
Wow.
help. We've even got our own van. Can you see that one in the picture?
I was going to ask about that. Is that your own particular van? What is it? It looks like a Honda Caddy or something. What?
Do you know? I'm not sure what it is, but I saw it on the internet and I just thought that's pretty cool. That's going to
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice
18
little-
detailing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So if anyone's got any any call for that sort of capability, it is like a learning thing. We do psychological healing as well. One of the lads is a trained counselor and psychotherapist. He can help with a lot of sort of mind healing kind of things as well, and it's a good all-round package. By all means, give me an email. That's my email there, sixblade473@gmail.com, or get in touch with me via the Telegram channel, Survive the Apocalypse, or the Occult Academy. Next slide,
Excellent.
please.
Certainly. And I'll tell you something else, Steve. That video, I think somebody else must have done it when you were standing up to the police outside that spearing centre.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that should be a training video because you were incredibly calm and collected, and the police were sort of on the back foot, and you're not showing any aggression. You're just being calm and peace. That was textbook the way you put that over. That really was, and I think that should be part of the training because you see so many of these videos where people are going shouting their laugh. Oh, no, it's not the way. Well, you did it. It's perfect,
Hey, thanks, mate. I mean,
that's all right.
As far as I'm concerned, the police, just because they're wearing a uniform and they look menacing, they're just human beings made of flesh and blood, just like I am, just like you are. And I would treat everybody equally, unless, of course, they meant me harm, in which case I'd escalate accordingly. So this is what we've got to do. We've got to basically lose the fear. Fear's got two meanings: forget everything, run, or face everything and rise. We have that choice. So that's kind of the end of my slides on this little kind of Solstice Survival presentation. But obviously,
Brilliant.
I think it's some useful things to consider going forward into the future.
I agree. I got to tell that down because, quite honestly, there are things that people overlook, very much overlook, and I think we had an inkling, or we had an insight. We dipped our toe into what totalitarianism can be during the lockdown, and we're getting it more with Keir Starmer now. Every day, the Ministry of Sadists comes up with another beauty. Oh, we got to do this, do that, do that. And apparently, everybody on a pension now can, regardless of who they are, can have their account looked into by the tax people.
Right.
Because they're looking at old age pensions as a benefit, even though people have paid in for it all their lives through national insurance. How can it be a benefit if you've paid in for it? It's insurance. That's why it's called national insurance. This is all cheat. It's all playing with words. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
But
let's be honest, I mean, the way this system works at the moment, though, is that we work longer for more years, and you basically stop working when you retire, whatever age it might be, 89, and you're dead by 90. So all the money you've paid in, you get naff all back anyway. To be honest,
you're right. And did you know a medieval peasant apparently worked less hours than we do? Serious. A medieval peasant, they did. They worked less hours, even though it's hard graft in the fields. They work less hours than we do.
Wow.
I mean, it's
by design, isn't it? Break the family unit up.
Yeah. But I've got a feeling, that every dog has his day. Give him enough rope. Keir Starmer, I give him a couple of months.
Yeah.
Initially, I said he'd see it through because he's ruthless. I don't think he will, because
Mm.
how he can continue, I just don't. The man, he is mental. There is no ifs and buts about it. There is
Oh
something
yeah.
mentally wrong with the man. He's sort of,
I think
you
it's the
know,
whole system that's going down. You can see it. They're in panic mode now. You can tell they're throwing things
yeah.
at us left, right, and centre. But they've
Mm.
already lost. Good has to win. There's no way evil can. We are on the right track. We are winning.
Well,
Otherwise, they wouldn't be panicking as much as they are. So we know we're
you're
doing the
right.
right thing.
But in America, I think in the American War of Independence, they had Minutemen. They could be called on in a minute. So they'd be ready and armed in a minute. Well, we don't need arms. We want to be armed with our brains. But if the government thugs are harassing someone, we want these Minutemen to be on them and always double the number. So if there's 10 of their thugs, there's 20 of our people. If there's
Yeah.
20 of their thugs, there's 40 of our people. Always outnumber them. And I'd repeat what I said last night. I saw something genius when the yellow vests before the lockdown were really, and they didn't have a leader. The French government wanted to speak to them. They said, speak to your leader, and they said we haven't got one. And look how successful they were. And what they did, must have been somebody with military training. Gendarmes were there, beating people and all that. And this group of people, someone filmed it from the top floor of a block of flats looking down. It was in somewhere, I think it must have been the warmer part of France, like Marseille or somewhere, because of palm trees there. And these gendarmes gave chase to these yellow vests. And what they didn't realise, it was a trap. And suddenly they came round in the pincer movement.
Mm.
And you've never seen these coppers so terrified. You see them with their truncheons like this, and the people are just standing around with their fingers crossed, arms crossed like this, just watching them.
Yeah.
And then suddenly someone comes along and says, "Remove your helmets, gentlemen, please." And they, "We won't harm you. Remove your helmets."
Mm-hmm.
And you see them terrified. They take their helmets off. And, "We won't harm you. We want to take your picture. We want to take your name and address. So in a people's court, we know who to call on."
Mm-hmm. Great points.
Because facing treason, you're against the people of this country.
Yeah.
So we're not going to harm you. And they at a gangway, and the police walked along sheepishly like this, without their helmets on, and they took pictures of each one, so they know who's who. And it's not threatening as much. They will face justice. And this is the thing: not thug rule. It's justice. What we want. And I think people who give the arms fear ought to let it be known that they can face justice as well.
Yeah, they need to know.
Well, I'm against all jabby jabs, all of them. I don't think any of them are harmless. I think they all give harm, and there are alternatives. And I think that there are also supermarkets are killing us with the amount of carbohydrate shit they've got that's selling. Directly you walk in, it's carbohydrate shit. And what carbohydrates do, especially sugary one, they give you feelings of hunger. So you eat more carbohydrates and you feel even more hungry. So eat more carbohydrates. Now it's different what you were saying earlier, Steve, in a survival situation where you do need carbohydrates. Yes.
Yeah.
So please don't take this the wrong way. But when people are sitting on their arse looking at the television, they don't need carbohydrates then. In a nice warm house. They need it if they're stuck up bleeding mountain or somewhere or in the middle of nowhere. That's when they need it,
You are right, Chris, because I go back to this with regards to you were saying about the arm spears and the V's. I don't think any newborn child or newborn baby needs any V's, because in theory that child will be perfect, assuming the mother's gone down the correct path as well and not had anything to do with the NHS, should we say. So that child will be born perfect. It's only the addition of Big Pharma, should we say, that effectively changes that individual from a healthy baby to someone who's got autism or someone who's got asthma or someone who's got it's those that cause the problems in the first place. It's like things like nut allergies, peanut allergies. We get on packaging now it says may contain peanuts. Well, one of the ingredients was added to one of the vaccines was peanut juice or peanut oil, and that's where
Really?
the
I didn't
peanut
know
allergy
that.
comes from. Yeah, that's where the peanut allergy comes from. So it's so without the V's in the first place, these allergies wouldn't even exist. And I still think that the coughs and the sneezes is the body's way of saying I don't like that. And I was saying this to my neighbour below about this. I was saying because one of the days I heard him, he was coughing his head off.
Hmm.
I said, I'm not listening to complain. I said, but you need to check what you're eating. I said, whatever you're eating or whatever you're drinking is causing you to cough and sneeze. And he came to me, he said, you're right. He said, it is what I'm eating.
Hmm.
I'm convinced that's what it is. Your body gives you
You're
warnings
right.
and hints that
Spot on.
when it doesn't want something, you cough or sputter. It's basically saying, I don't want that. And if you don't
Hmm.
listen to it, it'll give you more and more warnings until you actually do listen to it, or it gets to a point where you get cancers and things like that. It's the body is basically trying to tell you if you listen to what your body wants, you'll stay healthy. It's when you ignore what your body
You're right.
wants that it
You're right.
goes tits up, should we say?
But also with like vitamin C. Now, once you got a cold, it's a bit too late. You have Lemsip and things like that. But you should build up that resistance beforehand. And a cold is really your body detoxing.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it's
absolutely.
doing. It's just detoxing. It's saying, and I've got this theory. I mean, I'm not medically trained. I might be talking complete bullshit. I might be talking about bum. But my theory, okay, and I've got no scientific evidence to back this up, is that our subconscious communicates with other subconsciousness. So if someone's got a cold, your body thinks, it's about time I did a detox. Yeah, I think I'll detox.
Mm.
And this is how children get was it mumps and things
Mm.
like that. But this is the thing. Um, I've changed my diet. I feel a lot better for it. It suits me, but it may not suit everybody. And I think Steve, I think you're a vegetarian, aren't you? You don't eat
Mm.
meat. Well, it suits you. Fine, good luck. It didn't suit me, but again, we're all different, and this is the trouble with big farm. Well, I don't like big farm, but in the NHS, it's one size fits all. And what they don't look at is we all very, very different. We've got different fingerprints. We've had different life experiences. That's all part of life's rich tapestry, and that's the thing. But I think that really the body needs protein, and we lack protein in our diet. And this idea of bringing in one, I mean, do you eat eggs, Steve? And that, do you have eggs?
Yeah, I'll eat. I mean, not tons of dairy stuff, but I'll still eat egg and cheese. So I'm not a
Egg,
full on vegan.
yeah. Well, that's a good thing because you've got all you want in an egg. You've even got K2, vitamin K2. You've got all the vitamins possible in an egg. They reckon it's absolutely packed. It's better than taking a vitamin pill. You've got everything in it. And
Mm.
I'll tell you something I've noticed the difference between an organic egg and an ordinary egg. An ordinary egg, the yolk runs all over the place. An organic one is gelatinous
Mm.
and it doesn't run all over the place. It's solid.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big dip. So you just think, why is that? Can't be doing you much good. That's the thing. But luckily, I can go to a farm and pick them up, whereas not everybody's near a farm. But they can't say they're organic, but they are organic because
Yeah.
it costs, and they actually their eggs are cheaper than Tesco's.
Mm.
Seriously, yeah, yeah, that's it.
Nutrition is the answer to a lot of the issues we have and
Mm,
health issues and so on. It all boils down to what we eat and what we put into our bodies. At the end of the day,
that's right.
if you put crap fuel in your car, it ain't going to work. In the same way that
Yeah,
if you don't look after your body, it basically starts to fail. And I agree with that with the vitamins. I take vitamin C every day now.
I
I
do.
have been doing for the last 3 years or
Mm,
so. And for the most part, I'm fairly healthy. I know I was a bit unwell a couple of weeks ago, and that was
mm,
again a body detox.
yeah.
But I was explaining to somebody at work the other day about that I used to take I'm asthmatic, and I used to take 6 or 7 Ventolins a day, every single day, pretty much without fail. I've only taken one in the last year, just by changing what I eat, what I drink,
Mhm.
relaxing, being more chilled out, and that's what it's it's amazing how it changes things. And that was I was said to you before, Chris, about the kinesiologist I went to see, and that was the starting point of that, to try and get off big pharma.
Mm.
I was on the stuff for thyroxine I was taking every
Oh,
day,
bloody hell.
which I was
Yeah.
told if I didn't take that I'd be dead. Well, I haven't
Yeah.
taken it now for 6 years and I'm still alive, unless we've all got halos and I haven't spotted mine yet. But as far as I know, I'm still alive.
Mhm.
Well, I,
It's just changing what you eat and what you and understanding it a bit more, and that the big pharma stuff isn't actually there to help us, because big pharma cures nothing, do they? Let's be honest. All they do is keep giving you more and more pills, which need more
it's
and more
business.
pills. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
business. It's business. But I mean, I want to get Dr. Marhill back on the show. She was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to make her bread hopefully tomorrow if I've got time. But the people are saying, why can't she make her own bread? But no, Doctor, and no, what was I always get her bloody name wrong. She's coming on this Sunday. Dr. Natasha is coming on. She's the Russian. Where is
Mm.
it? Doctor. No, Natasha, yes. I think I don't know if she's married to an Englishman, but I think she lives up in Norfolk, and she's a qualified doctor. And she reckons that vegetables and things cleanse your, was it intestines and tracts and that. I may have got that wrong. Don't take that as gospel. You'll have to wait until she comes on to see she can correct me. So that's my interpretation, which could be wrong. But yes, Dr. Natasha, she's on. And Dr. Miles Fleetwood is coming on the week after.
Have
And
have you got him in your cellar or something like that? Make sure he doesn't escape.
I think I will actually. Amount of times he's very hard to tie down. I mean, he really is sought after because he's knowledge. I mean, he's one of very few people who understands Chinese medicine and can name all the sort of herbs and things that they use. Because a Chinese doctor took him under his wing and showed him. So he can, and that is actually something. And acupuncture, I believe in 100%, and also spiritual healing. Now he doesn't do spiritual healing. Have you ever had spiritual healing done to you?
Yes,
No.
once.
Do you feel a buzz when they're doing it? It's incredible experience.
Yes, I was doing because I've got still got this bloody hernia. It ain't gone, but yeah, it was to do with helping heal that. And one of the friends who's on here, she knows her as well, and she did some spiritual healing via, obviously spiritually. And I was lying in the bed on the bed in there, and she said, "Just chill out, and I'll make contact." She lives up in Macclesfield, and she said, "Just set your alarm to go off about 9 o'clock in the evening." And normally, when my alarm goes off, not that I use an alarm clock very often now, I usually prepared for it. But this thing went off, I jumped out of the bed. I thought, "What the fuck hell's that?"
Yeah,
So obviously, whatever she was doing was working. I was obviously zoned out
yeah.
of whatever it was working. But yeah,
Yeah,
this went off. What the hell's that? Oh, it's
well, that's right. My dad had distant healing before he died, and that doesn't sound very good. But no, seriously, quite a long time before he died, and he perked up a lot from distant healing. It really does work. I think it's fantastic. But I think there's a big difference between doctors and healers. A healer is a completely different kettle of fish. And hang on, I've got to push on live chat. Here we are.
a
They
doctor's
are.
a drug dealer.
Well, that's right. Now, was it all Russian birds are fit? Are you talking about the feathered kind? I'm very innocent, and all for you said, whatever our ancestors or have done, I'm following. Yes, they give us the idea that they were primitive and people, I don't know, licked slugs and Christ. I don't think so. I think they were very, very advanced. Because you remember that corpse they found on the Italian mountain in the Alps, and it was so many thousand years old. And they found strange marks on his wrist, tattoos, and they said he'd actually had acupuncture, and the doctors of the day would tattoo on your wrist the treatment that you've had. So you could go anywhere and you just show them,
Wow.
oh, yes, the treatment. That was a couple of thousand years ago.
Yeah.
Wasn't
you
Cliff
know,
Richard then?
Yeah. Oh, blimey, no. Mind you, this is what puts where I live on the map. Cliff Richard lived here, not actually in my house, but actually in Cheshunt, and there's actually a Cliff Richard house named after him.
I'm
Is
assuming
that your?
is it wired for sound then?
So he's going to say, Steve, sorry.
Yeah, is that where you live, or is that your neighbourhood?
Yeah,
Is it?
Cheshunt.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Right.
But on the edge of Cheshunt, I'm almost in Goffs Oak, and I
Yeah.
used to be living in Goffs Oak, but they over the weekend they changed the boundary. So I went to bed on Friday night in Goffs Oak, and I got up Monday morning. I was in Cheshunt. Seriously, bastards did it for some political reason. I don't know, but yeah, they did that years ago. But anyway, I think this has been a fantastic program, Steve. It really is. Has been, and thanks Paul as well for coming along.
Mhm.
Now this Thursday, and thank very much for Daisy as well for that sound bar. That was excellent.
All right.
Need
Yeah.
more.
I'll
Need
pass
more of
on.
that. Definitely.
We need
need
much
more
more
of
sound bar. I'm wondering whether we can have a peace and healing evening or something
Mm.
like that. Now that you did a fantastic presentation. It really is brilliant.
Thank you.
And now this Thursday, which is Christmas, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Christmas or a happy Saturnalia, whichever way you want to look at it, and a fantastic New Year. Now, Paul English said he might be broadcasting, he might not do.
Mm.
I don't know. I think he probably will, and I'll be a guest on there. And if not, I'll be broadcasting. So Thursday. So watch out, whatever happens. If you don't see me on here, I'll probably be on Paul's show and vice versa. And of course, you gentlemen, if you're not, I don't know, you're probably doing other things. Or Paul, everybody's invited to be an open house on there.
That's
so
awesome.
that.
yeah,
So I'm
Christmas
definitely
Eve.
free because I've got nothing. Christmas Day is well, I don't celebrate Christmas anyway because it's satanic.
Same here.
But, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's yeah.
I'm doing my washing because it's going to be. Apparently, they say it's going to be a sunny day on Christmas. So everybody's got their, as I said at the beginning of the show, everybody's got their, tinsel out and things like that. And look in my garden, I've got my undercrackers on me on coastline. It's a strange person. Yeah, it's not very Christmassy. So what are underpants got to do with Christmas?
Well, you could always say it's Boxers Day.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah.
I like this. Was it? Thanks. Was it 6 places? That's yourself, Steve. Thanks to all. And Merry Crimbo. That's a good one, isn't it? Now, was it all for you? Says, what I'm going to do is use what I've learnt over the past. Probably a year, that means. Yes. And also, actually, I was wondering, Steve, could you get, these firms that make the knives and whatever, you could get a bit of, get a bit of money from them for promoting their goods. Because I notice people on the internet, they say, oh, I've just got this, I don't know. Well, I got this mug, you see, that was free to promote things. But people get big, nice things like, well, this is a nice mug. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a spoilt kid or anything like that, or X1. But get people. That sort of power generation you got generated. They get freebies of them. Oh yes, we're just going to test this out.
Hey, I'm all in favour of getting free stuff. No,
Not
that I'm not in the
freebies.
army anymore.
Well, that's it. I do hope you're surviving okay. And when is your next survival thing coming up? We've got to give you a plug.
The next organised event I've got is sometime in May. I don't know the dates off the top of my head, but I'll guess nearer the time I'll start advertising that out. That'll be in North Wales. But I'm
Excellent.
open to offers. If anyone, like I say, I've got the Mindset Warriors stuff. If people can find some sort of value in what we provide there, or the
Mindset
survival
Warriors.
stuff. Yeah.
Now that is bloody interesting. I mean, there's a group of chaps who were Hell's Angels, and they're now citizen police type people. So they said if there's a woman and she feels that there's unsafe, a suspicious person, she phones this number, and couple of their people turn up who have such a nice way with them. And it's just their presence alone. They've got sort of tattoos down their face. I think they wear steel helmets, like German steel helmets on their bikes. So you wouldn't. But no, I think we need that. It's just the people's presence. So don't cause conflict, don't cause any problems. It's just our presence alone, and the woman feels safe. And then your children, if there's paedophiles around, they come along and they just stand.
I must admit that the venture that we're doing is a little bit more orientated towards providing some sort of resilient type coaching and practical survival type of advice and what have you. So it's a bit of a multitude of things, but
I've got my weapon here that you advised on.
Oh yeah.
So
as well.
And it's actually a Sharpie.
Exactly. So a lot of the things that I've talked about on the channel, that's kind of what the mindset warriors are capable of doing. So people have got a group or require some training needs, we can do that.
And
what you do, you smack them on the head with the Sharpie and then take the end off and get them high with it. Breathe in.
Well, I think it was Cleo Lane. She said that she was advised if a rapist is around to pick her nose, and she was sitting on the New York subway, and she said there's this character sitting opposite her was a little bit. This is before she was famous. A little bit unsavoury, sort of eyeing her up and down. So she just stuck her finger up her nose, and she walked off. And a good old rake around it. Whoa, lovely.
And then flick it.
Finger of fudge, that's it. Anyway, wish everybody great Christmas, New Year, and whatever happens, there'll be a broadcast. It'll either be on Paul English or here. And whatever happens, please stick your thumb up. Consider subscribing. Also, go on to Occult Academy on Steve's channel. And what's the other one? Survive the Apocalypse. Mm-hmm. And of course, there's the Fockham Hall on Telegram. Very, very good channel. It's got an award. No, it hasn't. I'll just made that up. It's bullshit. But it's everything you look at nowadays that you're going to post award-winning. It's bullshit most of the time.
Which Best Buy?
Best Buy?
Probably for a witch, yeah. Is it a cauldron?
That's right. Well, I think your Occult Academy, that's award-winning, isn't it? Fockham Hall gave it the award. So there we are. It's award-winning. Here we go. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. And whatever happens, have a bloody good laugh. And good night.